afternoon, everybody. Along with Chuck Thompson, this is Bob Prince from Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California, for the 1966 World Series. Brought to you by
Chrysler Corporation, makers of Plymouth, Dodge, Chrysler, Imperial, and Dodge trucks.
Well, here in Los Angeles, it is a very sunny and a pleasant day, and Dodger Stadium is rapidly filling up now as the Dodgers and the Baltimore Orioles, veterans Dodgers in World Series competition, although quite a few of their players have not played too many times, will meet the Baltimore club, which for the first time brings the great glory of pennant fever to that wonderful city in Baltimore as the American League champion. Now here's the veteran voice of the Baltimore Orioles, whose great ball club had a fine year, and Chuck Thompson will tell us all about it.
Well, thank you very much, Bob Prince. Good afternoon, baseball fans. The Baltimore Orioles in a World Series for the first time in a rather brief history and are very delighted to be here. However, the Orioles winning of an American League pennant could not be compared to the Dodgers win of the National League, and certainly all baseball fans, whether they be rooters for the National League or for the American League, certainly have to doff the cap, and a great big round of congratulations to manager Walter Alston and the Dodgers for the manner in which they won this 1966 National League pennant. Baltimore has nothing but a great deal of respect for the tremendous pitching of the Los Angeles Dodgers. They also respect the great Dodger speed and their fine defensive skill. But quite honestly, Baltimore feels it brings to this World Series the kind of a club that can beat the Dodgers. The Orioles are a club that have played very consistently throughout the first half of the year, and the second half of the year ran into problems that beset all ball clubs at one time or another in the course of a baseball year: injuries. Unfortunately for the Baltimore Orioles, the greater part of their injuries in the second half of the year befell a very fine pitching staff. Now, everyone has talked about the superlative pitching of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and there's not a man in the world who could deny it. However, in the Baltimore camp, they honestly feel that their pitching has been downgraded. The Orioles feel their pitching is a lot better than people seem to think that it is. And this afternoon, a young man who has, never played any high school baseball for the very simple reason that they did not have baseball at his high school in Billings, Montana, a young left-hander by the name of Dave McNally, will attempt to prove that point to the Los Angeles Dodgers and to the baseball world. The Baltimore Orioles bring into this series not only a very powerful ball club, but a very fine defensive ball club. And the leader, of course, is a man that I think many people refer to as the greatest third baseman in baseball today, in Brooks Robinson. And then, in a trade with the National League this past winter, the Orioles acquired from Cincinnati Frank Robinson, and I doubt that there's a baseball fan anywhere in the world who is not only too well aware of the accomplishments of this, the Triple Crown winner of 1966, and the first since Mantle did it in 1956 for the Yankees. In the background, Bob, I hear the PA announcer coming up with the starting lineups, and I think they are going to be introduced individually and come on out and stand on the foul line, and it might be a good idea if we were to try and introduce or announce our starting lineup along with the PA announcer. They are, first of all, introducing the manager, Hank Bauer, who, the World Series, nothing new to him, and when queried after clinching his first American League pennant as a manager, how he compared it to winning as a player, he said, "This, believe me, is the greatest thrill I have had in baseball." And now for the Orioles, the leadoff hitter will be Luis Aparicio, one of the finest defensive shortstops in all of baseball, who had as great a year as he has ever had as a major leaguer. Batting number 2 will be the Orioles center fielder and a left-handed swinger by the name of Russ Snyder. Now, the Oriole baseball fans refer to this man as Mr. Hustle. He does not have the superlative skills of any one given department. He's not a great hitter, not the greatest defensive outfielder. He does not have the greatest arm, nor the greatest speed. But he has stayed in the major league on sheer hustle and great competitive desire. The Triple Crown winner, Frank Robinson, will bat third and play in right field for Baltimore. Batting number 4 will be the third baseman, Brooks Robinson. Batting 5 is the biggest man on the Baltimore Oriole roster, Boog Powell, the first baseman. Batting 5 is the left fielder for the Baltimore Orioles, Kurt Blefary, and he is a left-handed hitter. And the number 7 hitter in the Baltimore Orioles batting order will be Dave Johnson. He is a right-handed batter and a rookie. And the number 8 hitter will be another rookie who did a tremendous job for Baltimore, surprised everyone with his ability to catch on a par with the big leaguers and to stand the pressure of a pennant drive, a native Californian, Andy Etchebarren. And then the pitcher, Dave McNally. This batting order is the batting order that manager Hank Bauer has used throughout the entire 66 campaign against the right-handed pitchers. Now tomorrow, Koufax will take the mound for the Dodgers, and there will be just 1 or 2 changes. Mainly, center fielder Russ Snyder will come out of the ball game, and Paul Blair will play in center field for the Orioles against left-handed pitchers. And now, Bob, that's the way the Orioles are going to go to battle these Dodgers in the 66 series. Let's see what the Dodgers do against the Birds.
Well, one thing we know, it's a highly partisan crowd, and so the Dodgers will be coming out, and Walter Alston, in his 6th series as a manager, has won 4 and lost 1, and holds the record for 4 victories by a National League manager. Here's Mr. Dodger in the minds of many, Maury Wills, the great shortstop and leadoff batter, and before a knee injury cut him down, a tremendous threat to steal, and may possibly be doing that in the series. Center fielder, one of the fastest men in all of baseball, will be Willie Davis. He can roam far, and he usually is a dead first ball swinger, and I'm sure the Baltimore Orioles know all about that. Now, the right fielder is a very adaptable player. Sweet Lou Johnson, as he's called. He's been the fellow that just runs out there all the time. He runs out home runs. He just hustles all the time. In left field, the Dodgers' real power man who's working with an Achilles tendon problem, and that'll be Tommy Davis, a very strong batter, has had trouble and started to fade a little bit toward the end of the campaign. A switch-hitting second baseman and a very good one, Jim Lefevre, will play at second base and bat fifth. Lefevre did a lot of weightlifting in the offseason, and that's why he came up with more home runs. Wes Parker, whom many baseball observers believe has the finest pair of hands of all first basemen going, will be in the first base spot and batting 6th. At third base, the one man that I doubt if they'll ever retire him. There have been many calls to replace him, but when they open the season, it's Jim Gilliam going out there. Junior Gilliam, and he'll be playing at third. The catcher and one of the real top catchers in baseball, John Roseborough. Real smart individual, very, very heady. And on the mound, a very tough one by the name of Don Drysdale. Slumping off this year to a 13-16 record, but when the chips are down, Big D is there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, around the United States and all over the world, we're about ready to go. Commissioner Eckert is going to toss out the first baseball traditionally, and we will be set to get underway. Right now, let's pause for station identification.
810 on your dial, WGY, Schenectady.
Saratoga, the authentic Vichy behind the yellow label. The only mixer we know of that people built a city just to be near.
In 1960, I had the extreme pleasure of working the World Series with the veteran voice of the Baltimore Orioles, Mr. Chuck Thompson, who will call the front half of this contest for you. And Chuck, I can only say this. If this series develops into as wild and a woolly one as the Yankees and the Pirates put on in 1960, we'll do some talking together.
How true, Bob Prince, and it'll probably take a few days before we can get over it. That was one of the many great World Series, and it was a great pleasure and a privilege to be there in 1960, as it is again this afternoon. Well, now to the important business at hand. It's just a matter of moments away. On the mound for the Los Angeles Dodgers is the big, hard-throwing Don Drysdale. His catcher is John Roseborough, and I would now run the entire defensive lineup of the Dodgers so you can kind of set them in your mind's eye. The first baseman will be Wes Parker. The second baseman, Jim Lefevre. At third base, the incomparable Maury Wills, who played under great handicaps this year and played in a great fashion. And the third baseman, Jim Gilliam. In left field for the Dodgers will be Tommy Davis. The center fielder will be Willie Davis. And the right fielder, Lou Johnson. The umpire at the plate here in game number 1 will be from the National League, Bill Jakowski. At first base, the American League's Nestor Scheimer. At second base, the National League's Chris Kalakutis. At third base, the American American League, John Rice. Down the left field foul line from the National League, Mel Steiner. Down the right field foul line, the American League, Cal Drummond. To lead off for the Baltimore Orioles, the right-hand hitting shortstop, Luis Aparicio. Luis sits out of a closed stance about the middle of the box, and he will take the ball to the opposite field frequently. Center fielder Willie Davis shades a bit toward the alley, toward right center as Drysdale winds, and the first pitch of the 66 series is a strike called, and we're underway. Coaching third base for the Baltimore Orioles is Billy Hunter. Coaching first base, Gene Woodling. Drysdale's look to Rosebera for the side. The big right-handed's one strike offering is a bit outside to even the count at 1-1. Aparicio improved his average in 1966 some 51 points. Fly ball is hit out into shallow right field. Coming up on the ball, the right fielder Lou Johnson, and he parks over to make the catch without any trouble. And Aparicio on a 1-1 offering flies to the right fielder Johnson. 1 up and 1 down in the Orioles half of the first inning. Batting number 2 for Baltimore, left-hand hitting center fielder Russ Snyder. Russ is a native of the fine state of Nebraska. He lives in Nelson, Nebraska. Left-handed swinger. He attended Nebraska University, did Russ, and here's a fellow Baltimore calls Mr. Hustle. Drysdale's first offering is right down the groove and a strike call. Third baseman Gilliam, in respect to Snyder's good speed and bunting ability, is up on the edge of the infield grass. The rest of the infield up maybe a step or two, and the outfield slanted a bit to the opposite field. Drysdale delivers inside low, and the count evens now at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 out and none on. Drysdale to the wide. The big right-handed pitch is a ball 2 low and inside. Snyder started to offer on a breaking ball and held back on the swing inside. 2 balls, 1 strike. Russ hit .306 in 1966 with the Birds, second best in the American League. 2-1 pitch to left-hand batting Snyder. Again misses a little bit low and inside, and the count now 3 balls and 1 strike. Well, this is the 63rd World Series. Dodger fans point to the fact the Dodgers have never lost here in Dodger Stadium. Drysdale delivers low and inside again. A ball 4 to Russ Snyder. So the first base runner of the 66 series, if you keep these kind of statistics, becomes center fielder Russ Snyder. And now here is Frank Robbins. And if you were to try and talk about all of the accomplishments of Frank Robinson in the 66 season with the Baltimore Orioles, it might take us a couple of innings. In his first American League season, became the 6th player in the American League history to win the Triple Crown. This is his second World Series. He hit 200 in the series of 1961 against the Yankees. Here's a pickoff attempt at first base. Snyder just back in time, and the throw was a bit to the infield side of the bag, pulling Parker off it. 1 out. Russ Snyder, the runner at first base, and Drysdale ready to go to work for the right-hand batting Frank Robinson. Drysdale throws outside. Ball 1. Leading first with 1 away on the top of the first inning. Drysdale's pitch swung on, fly ball well hit, fairly deep to left field. Back goes the left fielder on the warning track. Leaps. He does not get it. It's in for a home run. Frank Robinson homers. And the Orioles take an immediate 2-0 lead over the LA Dodgers. Frank Robinson with a 2-run home run, scoring Russ Snyder ahead of him, gives the Orioles a 2-0 lead. And I'm thinking back to the very first game of the 1966 campaign. The Orioles opened against the Boston Red Sox in Fenway Park. Were tied up 4-4 in the 13th inning of the first game of the year, and Frank Robinson homered to win it for Baltimore 5-4. Now here is Brooks Robinson with Baltimore leading 2-0 with 1 out. Drysdale's first pitch, a breaking ball, and a strike called to Brooks. If you're not familiar with the measurements of this fine ballpark, 330 feet down the foul lines, right and left. Pitch to Brooks, high and inside to make the count 1 ball, 1 strike. One of the former great third basemen in the American League, George Kell, referred to this man as the finest player in baseball. Drysdale to the move, and the 1-1 to Brooks Robinson. Swinging another drive, well hit, deep to left. Back on the ball, Tommy Davis looking up. It's going, gone! Home run for Brooks Robinson, and it's Baltimore 3, and the Dodgers nothing in the very first inning. Brooks Robinson has hit his first World Series home run. This is his first World Series. The Orioles now have a 3-0 edge over Drysdale and the Dodgers, and time is called very briefly while that fine veteran, Jim Gilliam, moves into the mound to talk a bit with his hurler. And I believe we'll have some bullpen activity now for the LA Dodgers. Joe Moeller is warming in the Dodger bullpen as Boog Powell, left-handed swinging Oriole first baseman, steps in. Here's a check swing high pop-up third base side foul, drifting in foul ground under a Junior Gilliam, waiting now, and Gilliam has for the second out of the inning. And Bob Prince, I understand that the Orioles have just tied a record.
Yes, most consecutive home runs in an inning one ball club. Several have held it. 2 is the record. Washington and the Yankees did it 3 times. So now the Orioles join the most elite circle.
2 down, with none on. The Orioles have scored 3 times. A walk to Russ Snyder, a 2-run home run by Frank Robinson, solo blast by Brooks. Drysdale's pitch is high and away, and a ball. Kurt Blefary, left-hand hitting Oriole left fielder. A young man who brings a tremendous amount of competitive desire to the game of baseball. Drysdale's pitch is fouled away out of play. Ball and a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 out, none on. Drysdale turns his back to the plate now to take a momentary breather, and I'm sure there are many fans who are kind of saying to themselves right now, well, Drysdale is working with but 2 days rest. How true. Pitch. Just missed inside. 2 balls, 1 strike to the southpaw hitting Kurt Blefary. Offering cut on a line drive out of the right field corner, digging hard. Lou Johnson doesn't get there, has to play it on the first hop, and Blefary has pulled a line single into right field corner. For the Birds, it'll be their 3rd base hit against Don Drysdale in this top of the first inning. Here is another of the Orioles' celebrated rookies, young Dave Johnson. He was born in Orlando, Florida, now lives down in San Antonio, Texas. He has attended Trinity University during the off-season. Right-handed swinger is Dave Johnson. 2 out of the inning. Blefary, the runner at first base. Drysdale delivers. Breaking ball in. Strike called. Caught the outer portion around the knees, Dave. Johnson looks at an offering lone outside to even the count now at 1 ball, 1 strike. This is Dave Johnson. The Baltimore Orioles have another fine utility infielder by the name of Bob Johnson. They also have 2 pitchers that answer to the name of Miller, John Miller and Stu Miller. 1 ball, 1 strike to Dave Johnson. Drysdale pitches, swing and a miss, strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two pitch to Johnson, cut on and missed. A strikeout for Drysdale. The Orioles, in their half of the first inning, grabbed 3 runs on the same number of base hits, 3. There were no Dodger errors. 1 man is left on. At the end of the first half inning, Baltimore 3 and the Dodgers nothing. And now Now the Dodgers, who were forced to play catch-up baseball many, many times in their battle for the 1966 pennant, are forced to do the same thing again in this first game.
And one thing they will do, Chuck, very early in the ball game, while they're down at 3-0 at this point, they will try for the one run to get themselves back into the position of the bunt. They'll go for that one rather than the big inning.
Well, here is Maury Wills. Maury against the left-hand slants of Dave McNally will be a right-handed batter. Native of Washington, D.C. is Maury. McNally's first pitch is a strike call. He got the fastball over the outer portion around the letters. Brooks Robinson at third is just about even with a bag. Aparicio and Johnson are up a couple of steps. Here's the ball high and outside to right-hand batting Maury Wills. The Oriole outfield is bunched up against Maury Wills. They give him the foul lines down the left field side and the right field side in an effort to try and cut off the alleys in left and right center. Wills fouls this pitch down the first base side and out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pitch coming down to Wills. McNally throws. Fastball is fouled out of play again. And the count, a ball and 2 strikes to the Dodger leadoff hitter Maury Wills. To be followed by Willie Davis and Lou Johnson. It took Maury Wills a long time to get to the big leagues, but what a magnificent job he's done once he arrived. 8.5 years in the minors. Pitch. Outside. And the count now 2 balls, 2 strikes to Wills. Dave McNally does not have any unorthodox pitches. He has a fastball, a curveball, and a changeup. 2 balls and 2 strikes, the count to Maury Wills. McNally throws high again, and we have a full count. 3-2. The one thing Baltimore pitchers hope to be able to do in this series is not to give the Dodgers that base on balls because of the great Dodger speed and base running ability. 3-2 pitch, foul to the screen behind the plate. McNally has the sign to the wind, and the 3-2 pitch to Wills is a ball 4 up high, and Wills is on with a base on ball. To the plate now, center fielder Willie Davis. Long, lean individual, great speed. And this young man is a first ball hitter for the most part. Wills with a big lead at first. There he goes. The pitch is taken high for a ball. The throw to second base. He is going to be safe. Wills is in with a steal. Prince told you just moments ago, this is the Dodger style of baseball. On the very first offering from Dave McNally to the left-hand hitting Willie Davis, Maury Wills was gone and in safely with a steal of second, and time has now been called. Wills seems to have shaken himself up just a little bit on the slide.
Maury's been operating pretty much with a very heavily taped right leg, a bad thigh and knee, and I think just asked there for a little time in order to flex his muscles. But it'd take a little more than that, I think, to get him out of this series, Chuck.
How true. One of baseball's fine competitors is Maury Wills. Now the 1-0 pitch to the left-hand batting Willie Davis. Swing and a foul out of play coming right up here near the booth. The count now, a ball and a strike. Wills halfway around at second base, and the 1-1 pitch coming to Willie Davis. McNally tried a curve, didn't make it, and the count is 2 balls, 1 strike. now gone to the mound to visit very briefly with his youngster, Dave McNally. There's just no way you can really explain World Series jitters. They affect everyone, no matter how many series you have played in, or how many series you have been associated with. Now the 2-1 pitch to the left-hand batting Davis. Wills leads second. The pitch is cut on and popped up. This one out towards shortstop. Aparicio on the skin of the infield calling for it. Gloves it for the first out of the inning. Willie Davis retired on a pop-up to the shortstop, Aparicio. Now here's the fellow they refer to as the man in a hurry, Lou Johnson. A native of Lexington, Kentucky. Now lives right out here in this fine city of Los Angeles. Began his pro career in the Yankee organization. And this is his 14th year as a pro. Played for 15 different minor league teams in 13 different leagues. You think he's not happy to be a Dodger and be here? You know he is. Right-handed swinger. And McNally's first offering is high and away, ball one. Lou hit .272 in 1966. 73 runs batted in. Just one under the club leader, Jim Lefevre. 1-0 pitch coming down to Lou Johnson. Wills at second with one away. McNally with a long, hard look towards second, and Johnson figures he'll break the spell, steps out. Wills opened the game with a walk, stole second base. Willie Davis popped to the shortstop, Aparicio. Now McNally ready to deal. 1-0 to Lou Johnson. Southpaw comes off the rubber with a pitch that's cut on. High fly ball, center field. Snyder with the glasses down, tracking toward the alley in left center, getting under it, looks up. The Orioles center fielder makes the catch for the second out of the inning. 2 down as Lou Johnson flies to center fielder, Russ Snyder. Here is Tommy Davis. Born in Brooklyn, New York, and now lives here in Los Angeles. This is his 11th pro season and his 7th year with the Dodgers. He was the only Dodger to hit 300 this year, leading the club with a strong .313. And Tommy is the kind of a fellow who has great success against the left-handed pitchers. He hit .361 against southpaws this year. 2 down, Will second. Pitch coming to Tommy. Strike called by plate umpire Bill Jakowski. Tommy has led the Dodgers 3 other times hitting against left-handers. 61, 62, and 63. Wills at second with 2 down. Left-hander McNally throws to second baseman Dave Johnson racing toward the bag in a pickoff effort, and Wills went back into the belt buckle without too much difficulty. Strike to the batter, Tommy Davis. For those of you who may have just tuned in a little bit late, the Orioles, with 2 home runs in the top of the first, lead the Dodgers 3-0 in this last half of the first inning. Now the 1-strike pitch to Tommy Davis. Wills dancing out at second base. McNally throws, swing, ground ball hit off the third base side, charging Brooks Robinson. He has him a shoulder-high hop, throw to Powell in time to get Tommy Davis. And that's it for the Dodgers in their half of the first inning. No runs. There were no base hits, no errors. 1 man left on at the end of the first inning of play. The score: Baltimore 3, Los Angeles 0. From Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California, the Orioles and the Los Angeles Dodgers in the 1966 World Series. And now, for his first plate appearance ever in a World Series, the Oriole rookie catcher, Andy Etchebarren, a native of the state of California, another of the Orioles' many bonus youngsters. And what a fine year he gave the Baltimore Orioles under severe handicap, numerous injuries. Right-handed batter is Etchebarren. Drysdale's pitch is a breaking ball that missed outside, ball 1. Last year, Etchebarren caught in 140 games for the Rochester Red Wings in the International League despite a broken thumb. Outside to Etchebarren, the count 2 balls and no strikes, and some of the Dodger fans just stir a little uneasily. We did have some very brief bullpen activity on the part of the Dodgers in the first inning in the person of Joe Moeller. 2-0 pitch to right-hand batting Etchebarren. Check swinging a ball inside and high, 3-0. Now the 3-0 pitch to Etchebarren. He takes all the way, and a strike is called. 3-1 to Andy Etchebarren. He'll be followed to the plate by Baltimore pitcher Dave McNally. 3-1 pitch. Drysdale deals, swing and a miss. Strike two, kind of popped that one right by him. Full count to Etchebarren. Drysdale looks, and the big right-hander to the move. 3-2 pitch. Ball four, it's high inside. And there's a walk to Andy Etchebarren. Well, the only other walk that Drysdale issued went to Russ Snyder in the first inning. It was followed by a Frank Robinson home run to give Baltimore a 2-0 lead. And then Brooks Robinson followed with a solo home run to account for the 3 Bird runs. Walk number 2 issued by Drysdale. Here now is pitcher Dave McNally. Dave is a right-handed batter, deep in the box, open stance. And Drysdale to the set below the belt, deals to first base, Etchebarren back safely. Parker holding the runner over that way. And the Dodgers figure that Dave McNally will be moving Etchebarren along with the bunt. The set by Drysdale. McNally squares the bunt, bunts off the first base side of the mound, fielded by the pitcher, no play at second base. Throw to first is in time to retire, sacrificing Dave McNally. Pitcher to the second baseman covering at first to retire McNally. One away in the top half of the second inning. Etchebarren halfway around, and to the plate for the second time is Luis Aparicio. He was retired in the first inning on a fly ball to the right fielder Lou Johnson. Etchebarren, for a catcher, has remarkable speed. He can move along very well. Drysdale's hard look to Roseboro for the sign. Now turns to the stretch, to the set, and his pitch. High fly ball out of the shallow right field. Back to second baseman on the right fielder, Lou Johnson. Still Johnson getting under it, and Lou makes the grab to retire Aparicio. We have 2 down as Aparicio retires. The fly ball to right field. And now here is Russ Snyder, who, against Drysdale in the first inning, drew the base on balls, and Robinson Frank scored him on a 2-run home run. Taking his time, settling in at the plate. Drysdale standing behind the rubber, now toes in, looking down for the sign. And the Dodger right-hander is first offering to Snyder. Cut on line drive base hit over the third baseman's head out of the left field. Etchebarren hits third base. Around third, coming home. Throw coming to the plate. Etchebarren is going to go over standing up, and Baltimore leads now by a score of 4-0. On the throw into the plate, Russ Snyder moved down to second base. Etchebarren scores run number 4 as Snyder slices a drive into the left field area, chased down out there by Tommy Davis. The official scorer rules a single for Russ Snyder, and he takes second on the throw to the plate. And Joe Moeller is now throwing in the Dodger bullpen. Frank Robinson at the plate for the second time. He homered off Drysdale with a man on in the first pitch. Swing line, foul down the third base side into the Dodger dugout. I hope everybody's okay. That's a mean foul ball into the spacious Dodger dugout off the third base side here at Dodger Stadium, and the visiting Orioles, of course, on the first base side. Frank Robinson now examining that bat. Rather vigorously banging first the handle end of the bat on the plate and then the barrel end of the bat, and has determined now that it's not splintered and okay. But now he turns and looks toward the plate umpire Bill Chakowski, and they give the bat another squint. Evidently all right. Frank steps in and we're ready. Snyder at second base, 2 down in the top half of the second inning. Baltimore 4, Dodgers nothing. Drysdale's pitch, swinging a high fly ball left field. Waiting out there, Tommy Davis, coming toward the foul line, loping in under it now. The big man is there. He's got it. And that's the final out of the inning. But for the Orioles in their half of the second inning, another run on one base hit. There were no Dodger errors, and the man is left on. At the end of an inning and a half, the score, Baltimore 4, Los Angeles nothing. Here are the Dodgers coming on against Baltimore's southpaw Dave McNally in the last half of the second inning with Jim Lefevre. He'll be followed by Wes Parker and Jim Gilliam. Lefevre, a switch hitter, a right-handed swinger against Dave McNally. Ball one, low inside, almost hit Jim right in the right ankle. He was born in Inglewood, California. The National League Rookie of the Year last season. Fastball is just inside, right at the belt, and the count 2 balls and no strikes. Lefevre waiting now, a 2-0 pitch from Dave McNally. Strike called as the Baltimore left-hander got the inner portion around the letters. Danny Ozark coaching on the first base side for the Dodgers, and Preston Gomez at third. 2-1 pitch to Lefevre. Swing, fly ball, well hit, deep left field. Leffery going back, looking up, forget it. Home run, Jim Lefevre. Jim Lefevre, with the first Dodger hit of the ball game, hit it all the way up in the seats in left field, and it's now Baltimore 4, and the Dodgers 1. And the Dodgers, as we mentioned earlier, who have had to play catch-up baseball on numerous occasions this year to win their pennant, have to do it again this afternoon. Here is Wes Parker, right-handed swinger against McNally. He takes a pitch high for a ball. As we mentioned earlier, the Dodgers have no less than 4 switch hitters in their lineup this afternoon, and one of them at the plate right now in the person of Wes Parker. McNally's 1-0 pitch. Strike call. He picked up the outer portion around the knees. The count even at the ball and the strike to Wes Parker. McNally throws way up high on the ball. I'm not sure whether he was trying to let up on the pitch. Whatever he was trying to do, it didn't work. It was a wee bit out of the strike zone. Wes led the Dodgers in games played this year with 156. 2-1 pitch to Parker. Swinging a foul ball in the dirt behind the plate. And the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes to the Dodger first baseman. Now a 2-2 pitch coming to Wes Parker. McNally rocks over the rubber, throws. Ground ball down the first base side. Fair ball, just on the line, down in the right field corner. Parker going hard around first, legging for 2. And it evidently was picked off by a spectator down in that right field corner. Frank Robinson could not make any kind of a play. Bounced into the seats, apparently, and Wes Parker has a ground rule double, a right-handed hitter. Hit that ball right on the chalk line, right down the first base side, and then it trickled out foul. And first base umpire Nestor Scheidach had to put on quite an adroit and agile move to keep from being hit by the ball and make the call at the same time. So the Dodgers get a leadoff home run from Lefevre and a follow-up double by Wes Parker, and bring to the plate the veteran Jim Gilliam. Aaron met on the mound with Apple Field and pitcher Dave McNally and talked things over just a little bit following Parker's double, and the umpire on the right field foul line, Cal Drummond, went on down into the corner and spoke to a spectator about that possible interference, and it may have denied Parker the opportunity of a triple if it was there. 1-0 pitch now to Gilliam. Ball high outside as McNally's fastball really sailed. And the Dodger fans here at Dodger Stadium come to life. Now we see a stirring of activity in the Baltimore Orioles bullpen in the right right field corner. Right-hander Mo Drabowski is warming in the Oriole bullpen. McNally deals high, ball 3. Second base, Wes Parker just sliced a double down the right field line. And Gilliam waiting now a 3-0 pitch from Dave McNally. The Bird left-hander ready to go. A look back to second. The pitch to the plate is high, ball 4. There's the walk to Gilliam. The second walk issued by Baltimore's Dave McNally. And it brings to the plate the fine veteran Dodger catcher John Roseborough. 14th season as a pro. He has had 10 seasons with the Dodgers since joining the club in Brooklyn during the 1957 season. Gilliam, Drysdale, and Koufax are the only others who played for the Dodgers in Brooklyn. Roseborough, left-handed hitter against the southpaw pitching of McNally. There are none out. Dodger runners. Parker at second, Gilliam at first, McNally set. The pitch, breaking ball high, ball 1. The Orioles 4, the Dodgers 1. We're in the last half of the second inning of game number 1. And the Dodgers have brought pressure to bear on the young Baltimore southpaw Dave McNally. McNally ready with a 1-0 to left-hand batting Roseborough. He takes ball 2. A little bit high and inside. Manager Hank Bauer of the Orioles stirring a bit nervously down in the dugout. Now a 2-0 pitch to Roseborough. Right down Broadway, and a strike is called. And John, apparently under wraps, took it all away. 2-1. Center fielder Snyder laying rather deep in center, a bit around toward the alley. Actually, the outfield's kind of fanned out, guarding all the exits against Roseborough, who may hit the ball anywhere. 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And John didn't hold a whole lot back, I'll guarantee you. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Roseborough. Not out, Dodger runners first and second. And Drysdale, the on-deck hitter, and I'm sure all of you are aware of the fact that he's a fine hitting pitcher. Ready to go again. 2-2 pitch to Roseborough. Here it is. Ground ball just fouled outside of first. Sharply spiked ground ball down the first base side, on the count holds. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A few moments ago, Baltimore reliever Mo Drabowski started to warm in the Oriole bullpen. So now both bullpens have been activated, and we have yet to complete 2 innings of the first game. 2-2 the count to Roseborough. McNally ready. The left-handed throw. Look out, high, and a foul ball. Hold on a minute. This pitch right over Roseborough's head and nicked the bat and carry him foul. And Dave McNally and the Orioles come up with a pretty good break. Roseborough didn't have to duck very much at all, but that bat was cocked right up behind the left ear, and the ball picked it off. Right now, the game will be held up momentarily. Pitching coach Harry Brackeen, one of the greats in this fine game of baseball, is on his way to the mound, and he will now talk briefly with pitcher Dave McNally and catcher Andy Etchebarren. Bob Prince?
Well, Chuck, while we have this momentary delay, we'd like to say that professional baseball has every right to be proud of its college scholarship program. Inaugurated in 1961, the plan provides college scholarships to qualified boys when they sign as professional baseball players. More than 570 boys have received scholarships under this program. Many are playing ball in the summer and going to college in the off-season. Some who could not make the grade in baseball now are pursuing their studies full-time with expenses paid by baseball. Well, but Keene has made his trip to the mound, and that settles that down. Naturally, out there being the great pitching coach he is, to attack the young McNally. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. It's 4-1, Baltimore leading, but the Dodgers threatening with 2 on in the second. Here's Chuck Thompson.
2-2, the count to Roseboro. McNally ready to go. And here's his pitch. Ground ball, pump foul outside of first, and the count holds 2-2. Only 3 of the Baltimore Orioles active players have ever participated in a World Series before. Frank Robinson, Stu Miller, and shortstop Luis Aparicio. 18 of the Dodgers have had and felt this kind of pressure before. The 2-2 pitch. Fly ball hit off in the alley in right center field, going hard left sider, coming up on the ball, still going. He dives, makes a one-handed grab in the alley in right center field, and the runners will have to hold. Snyder, a little slow, tracking the ball, and then finally got a line on it and extended the left arm full length and spared the drive in the alley in right center field to take away an extra base hit from John Roseboro. Well, that's the defensive play of the ball game so far. 1 out of the inning. And Don Drysdale is not going to bat. He will not bat. We are going to get Dick Stewart. Dick Stewart. A former American leaguer, and he knows McNally. And Stewart has had in his career success against left-handers. And if there's anyone in baseball who is not aware of the fact that Stewart's a power hitter, I'd be hard-pressed to say where you've been the last few years. His greatest year in baseball, of course, was in 1956 with Lincoln in the Western League, when this big brawny first baseman hit 66 home runs. In 2 American League seasons, he knocked in 118 and 114 runs. Led the league in 1963, finishing second to Brooks Robinson of the Orioles in 1964. And here he is at the plate now, Dick Stewart. Pinch hitting for Don Drysdale. 1 out. Dodger runners, Gilliam at first, Wes Parker at second, 1 run in, Baltimore 4, Dodgers 1 in this last half of the second inning. McNally's ready, and his pitch to Stewart. High, ball 1. So Drysdale now is officially out of the ball game, pitching 2 complete innings, 4 runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, and a strikeout. Count to the right-hand batting Dick Stewart. McNally ready to go again. The bird lefty fires. Swing and a miss. And the count, a ball and a strike. Now the 1-1 offering. Gilliam leading first, Parker at second. McNally ready to go. Pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2. And McNally seems to have been content to fastball Stewart. He was down and in with the first one and then up and away with the second one. And now is ahead of the count of the ball, 2 strikes to the pinch hitter Dick Stewart. Two pitch coming down to Stewart. McNally fires. Fly ball. Well hit. Deep right center. Frank Robinson tracking back. Still going back. Still back along the warning track. He's there. Robinson makes the grab deep in the alley against the wall, 390 feet away for the second out of the inning. After the catch, Wes Parker tags at second and races on to third. Gilliam holds first base, but Stewart hit that ball almost about as far as you can hit it in that direction and still keep it in the ballpark. Frank was close to the wall underneath the 390-foot sign in right center before he hauled it in. 2 down. And now at the plate, Maury Wills, time call right now. Frank Robinson coming in toward his second baseman, Davey Johnson. And he has something to say to Dave Johnson right now out on the outfield grass. Dave leads him. Now at the dead run, here's Johnson. Coming across the skin of the infield, he may go to the mound. He comes in toward the edge of the infield grass, says something to pitcher Dave McNally. And now backs off to his normal second base position. Parker third. Gilliam first, 2 down, bottom of the second. And Maury Wills at the plate. He walked in the first inning and promptly swiped second base. And then McNally got the Dodgers in order. First pitch to Maury Wills. Outside. Ball 1. McNally's 1-0 pitch to Wills. Fly ball foul off the first base side, out of play. Ball and a strike to Maury. Well, I don't know where you'd go to find a seat in this great and beautiful ballpark in Chavez Ravine, and that includes this booth. They're all gone. 1 ball and 1 strike to Maury Wills. McNally sets and throws. He's high. 2 balls, 1 strike. Now Dave wants another baseball. Etchebarren spent a little time rubbing down the new ball, just in an effort to slow McNally down somewhat. The Oriole bullpen still active. Right-hander Mo Drabowski is just staying loose. One strike, the count to Wills. McNally sets, kicks, and throws. He's way outside and high, 3-1. The last time Dave McNally had a chance to pitch in competition, the same thing happened to him. He had a very troublesome first 3 innings. As a matter of fact, gave up 8 hits in the first 3 innings that he worked, and then settled on from there over the next 5 to allow but 3 hits. Now he has a 3-1 pitch to make to Wills. Here it is. Swing and a miss. Wills was going on the 3-1. Full count to Maury. 3-2. McNally ready. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. He struck him out. And you talk about a pressure performance from a rookie. Dave McNally battles the Dodgers to a standstill. A leadoff home run to Lefebvre, a double by Parker are the 2 Dodger base hits in the inning. 1 run, 2 hits, no Oriole errors, and 2 men left. At the end of 2 complete, Baltimore 4, Los Angeles 1. The Orioles will come to that in the top of the 3rd inning against the new Dodger hurler. Drysdale out of the game for the pinch hitting effort of Dick Stewart. Worked the first 2 innings. 4 base hits, 2 walks. Drysdale recorded a strikeout and is charged with a 4-run. And gives way now to Joe Muller. Muller, over the year with the Dodgers, appeared in 29 games, pitching 78 and 2/3 innings, 73 base hits, 22 earned runs. He walked 14, struck out 31, and pitched to an earned run of 2.51. Joe Muller. And the first hitter to face him will be Baltimore's 3rd baseman, Brooks Robinson, who homered in the first inning following the 2-run home run by Frank Robinson. Here is Brooks Robinson facing the right-handed Joe Muller. And the first offering coming to Brooks. High foul out of play. Strike 1. Right back, a good breaking ball for Muller and a strike 2 call. Fine looking pitch. Dodger right-hander. Two-strike pitch to Brooks, fouled away on the ground on the third base side, and the count holds at 2 strikes. Well, they've just posted the attendance here at Dodger Stadium for the first game of the 66 World Series at 55,941. Two-strike pitch to Brooks Robinson. Just missed, blown outside. 1-2. Joe Moeller now on the mound for the Dodgers, replacing Drysdale. Bob?
Chuck, I'm quite certain that the ball players are aware of the fact with this huge attendance here and what they'll have in Baltimore, there's a little bit more than just a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
A little bit more than just prestige, huh? Mm-hmm. Now the 1-2 pitch. Ground ball hit off the third base side, charging toward the bag. Gilliam with a good belt-high grab. The throw on to first is in time to get Brooks Robinson for the first out of the inning. Brooks retires and a ground ball to third baseman Gilliam. Here now, Oriole first baseman Boog Powell, who in his first at-bat on a check swing fouled to the third baseman Gilliam. This is a great big man, the biggest of the Orioles, with awesome power, and over the last part of the year has battled the injury bugaboo. Pitch. Strike called. Boog. Powell sustained a chip fracture of the ring finger of the left hand against Detroit, and in the final week of the year, re-injured his right wrist. So he's got a sore left hand and a sore right wrist. 1-strike pitch. Inside, the big fella backs off without any trouble, and the count is a ball and a strike. One out, none on. A ball and a strike to left-hand hitting Boog Powell. And the 1-1 pitch. Low and a ball. 2-1. Bleffery, the on-deck hitter for Baltimore. Pitch. Just outside low. 3-1. Boog Powell has, in his career with the Orioles, hit some of those home runs you call tape measure home runs. Now your 3-1 pitch. Moeller rocks and throws. Swing and a miss, strike 2. He didn't hold back. Oh, my goodness. However, Brooks Robinson, or rather Frank Robinson, is the only Oriole ever to have hit a home run completely out of Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. 3-2 pitch to Boog Powell. Ground ball hit right toward the shortstop Wills. Comes up on a peculiar hop off the left shoulder. He made the grab and throw on to first in time to get Powell. That one, threatened a bad hop right by Murray, but with his quick hands, he speared it right off the left shoulder and threw him out. 2 down in the Baltimore third, and now here is Curt Bleffery. This is a young man that takes a good deal of kidding on occasion from his teammates, particularly from Frank Robinson. Frank refers to this fellow as Clank, meaning that he carries an iron glove. Actually, he is not that bad a defensive ball player. Moeller, in relief of Drysdale, rocks over the rubber and deals. High pop-up. This one out into shallow center field on the outfield grass. Backing and waiting, shortstop Maury Wills makes the catch, and the Orioles, for the first time today, are 3 up and 3 down. At the end of 2.5, the score, Baltimore 4, Los Angeles 1. Well, the Dodgers will come on in the last half of the third inning against Baltimore's J. McNally with Willie Davis, center fielder. In the first inning, Davis pops to the shortstop Aparicio, left-hander. And McNally's first offering to Willie, swinging a high pop-up, middle of the infield. Dave Johnson calling for it. The second baseman gives way now to the shortstop Aparicio. And Aparicio on the first base side of second grabs the pop-up for the first out of the inning. Willie Davis pops to the shortstop Aparicio on the first base side of the bag in second. And here now, Lou Johnson. He's flying to the center fielder, Russ Snyder, in the first inning. Right-hand hitter right down on the end of the bat is Lou. Change-up is in the dirt and a ball. You know, we never even so much as mentioned the weather out here in Los Angeles this afternoon, and that's an unpardonable crime. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now the 1-0 pitch to Lou Johnson. McNally brings the arm down, rips a fastball and strike call. A ball and a strike to Johnson. Few fleecy clouds overhead, a lot of sunshine, and perfect baseball weather. Now the 1-1 pitch coming to Johnson. High, and a ball, 2-1. 2-1 pitch. Foul ball on the netting behind the plate. 2-2 to Johnson. 1 out, none on. Last half of the third inning. Score Baltimore 4, Dodgers 1. And for those of you who perhaps have just tuned our way, the Orioles got off to a big start in the first inning with a 2-run home run from Frank Robinson and a solo home run from Brooks. Added one more run in the second. High. Up 3, and this one was really high. A few of the change-ups that McNally will try to throw will result in a pitch like the one we've just witnessed. Now a 3-2 pitch to Johnson. Ball 4. A walk to Johnson. The third walk issued this afternoon by the Baltimore left-hander Dave McNally. 1 out, Dodger runner at first, Johnson. And here now is Tommy Davis. Tommy went out on a ground ball to third baseman Brooks Robinson in the first inning. This fine Dodger outfielder has really had to battle the injury jinx. Walking out a bit of a lead at first base, Lou Johnson. Holding with him, first baseman Powell. McNally set, flips to first, comes to the plate, missing high and away with a ball. Breaking ball, but just didn't break. Pitch to Tommy Davis. Missed low on a bit outside. 2-0 now. Brooks Robinson at third, after he fielded the shortstop. Dave Johnson, the second baseman, moved Powell at first, and McNally ready. 2-0 pitch to Tommy Davis. Ball 3. High and away. Echeverria now walks the ball back out to the mound to his pitcher, Dave McNally, in an effort to slow him down, try and settle him down. And again, the sign has gone to the Oriole bullpen. And again, I believe it will be Mo Drabowski. One out in the Dodger half of the third. Runner at first, Johnson. A count of 3 balls, no strikes to Tommy Davis as McNally is ready to go. The pitch. Ball 4. Back-to-back walk. The Dodgers again put the pressure on the Birds. And right now we'll pause 30 seconds for station identification.
WGY, WGFM, Schenectady. Your radio has not gone cuckoo. That's merely the sound of Saratoga Vichy and its long-lasting fizz. The story behind that fizz is even stranger than the sound. You see, nature carbonates Saratoga Vichy, giving it a perky little fizz with incredible staying power. It keeps drinks fresh far longer than club soda or any of the imitation Vichys. Saratoga, the authentic Vichy in the yellow label.
The account of a lone Dodger run. McNally's pitch, swing and a miss. Strike 1 to Lefevre, who has a good deal more power as a right-handed hitter than as a left-handed batter, and demonstrated that power as the leadoff batsman in the second. One strike, the count to right-hand swinging Lefevre. McNally is ready to go. inside lefty stick. Way outside, almost a wild pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike to Lefevre. Now Aparicio on the dead run races to the mound to talk to McNally. Bob Miller is up and throwing in the Dodger bullpen. Mo Drabowski in the Oriole bullpen. We're in the bottom of the third. 1 out of the inning. Dodger runners first and second. And Lefevre waiting now. A 1-1 pitch from McNally. Here it is. Changeup. Just missed inside. Now 2 balls, 1 strike. Fine-looking off-speed pitch from McNally that just missed a bit inside around the letters. Pitch. Low inside, ball 3. 3-1 to Lefevre. Hank Bauer has now, well, he has 1 more step to take to get out of the Oriole dugout. He is right up on the step. Back in Baltimore, sometimes we call that the launching platform. 3-1, the count to Lefevre. McNally set. Big pitch coming. Here it is. Loaded. And Hank Bauer has now come out of the Oriole dugout and is slowly walking to the mound. No sign has been given to the bullpen as yet. Bauer looks that way, now signs that way, and it means that the Orioles will bring in Mo Drabowski, and the young left-hander Dave McNally has run into control problems in the 3rd inning. Walking the bases loaded will be lifted. McNally has pitched 2 and 1/3 innings. He has allowed a total of 5 walks. Walked 5 for the Dodgers. The Dodgers have nicknamed for 2 base hits. One of those, a home run by Lefevre. Another was a double by Wes Parker. The strikeout column for Dave McNally shows 1. And of course, he's charged with the 1 Dodger run and is responsible for the 3 on base. Bob Prince.
Okay, Chuck Thompson, and they've just sent over information from Alan Roth and Jim Simpson, who are helping us out here statistically, that young McNally has just tossed 63 pitches, and that is an uncommon number to be going up to that plate, especially when you haven't gone the full 3 innings. In fact, they like to try to get you in on a complete ball game at around 120, 125, and then, you know, you're humming it up pretty good. When families get shaken up by a serious problem, they often get help at their local family service agency. In many ways, also, families get help at Salvation Army and Legal Aid and Red Cross. These health and welfare agencies are supported by many United Funds and community chests. And so is USO, morale booster for the sons of American families in the armed forces. Your one gift works many, many wonders. When the United Fund or Community Trust Drive opens in your town, give the United way. Well, Mo Drabowski would not be a total stranger to the Dodger Ball Club, having pitched against them when he was with Chicago. But for most of these youngsters, however, on the Dodger Ball Club, like Lou Johnson and company, Lefevre and Wes Parker, you would know, of course, they've never seen him before. So, it's a bases-loaded situation. He popped Willie Davis up here in the 3rd, and then, as Chuck just described, walked the bases full, and there just isn't any more room as Mr. Parker stands in.
Against Mo Drabowski, who had a fine year with the Orioles, in 45 games, Drabowski won 6 without defeat. Pitched to an earned run of 2.81. Along the way, with his relief work, he also made 3 starts for Baltimore. And he also picked up 4 saves as a reliever. Drabowski, a right-hander who throws hard, and now the southpaw swinging Wes Parker. He doubled as a right-handed batter in the 2nd. Drabowski deals, strike ball, quick breaking ball. as a Dodger. Lou Johnson at third, Tom Davis at second, and Jim Lefebvre at first. One out of the inning, bases loaded, one strike pitch, just inside, and the count evens 1 ball, 1 strike to Wes Parker. Pitch coming to Wes Parker. Drabowski fires. Strike 2 call. He picked up the outer portion just above the knees. And I'm sure you heard the crowd reaction. No words necessary. 1-2. The count to Parker. Pitch, swing and a miss. He struck him out. Drabowski picks up a strikeout. The second out of the inning. And now the batter is Jim Gilliam, third baseman who walked in the second inning. Among 5 free tickets issued by the Baltimore starter, Dave McNally, this afternoon. On the Dodger third, Baltimore 4, Los Angeles 1. Bases loaded, and Gilliam looks out to Mo Drabowski. Drabowski's line and pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. He just pumped it right by him. Inside. Drabowski looks to third. Checking on Lou Johnson. 2 to wind the pitch. Missed inside low. A ball and a strike. Now the 1-1 pitch. Strike 2 call. Gilliam gets a called strike over the inner portion of the hands. A ball and 2 strikes. 2 down and the bases loaded. The first game of the 1966 series. Now the 1-2 pitch to Gilliam. Drabowski is ready. Here it is. Just outside, 2-2. Drabowski on the follow-through just froze. Stared at the plate, waiting for Etchebarren to return the ball. And we're ready once more. The 2-2 pitch to Gilliam with the bases loaded and 2 out. Drabowski rocks, fires. Just inside. And that'll fill the count now. Bob Prince said no room for Mr. Gilliam. Johnson at third. Tom Davis at second. Jim Lefebvre at first. 2 out, bases loaded, 3-2 pitch coming. The action play of baseball. Everybody will wheel and go. Left hand hitting Gilliam at the plate. Foul is kind of deep down there at first base. And Drabowski will work from the stretch. The set and the 3-2. Foul ball out of play. The count to Junior Gilliam. And the tension just relaxes momentarily now as Drabowski grabbed the rosin, and now it begins to build up as he toes the rubber to pick up the sign. To the brief stretch, the set. The runners go. The pitch is a ball 4 inside. A walk with the bases loaded, and the Dodgers have their second run. This one also charged to the now departed Dave McNally. And in this inning, the fourth walk by Oriole pitching, and the bases remain loaded with 2 outs. The first walk issued by Drabowski. 4 free tickets handed out by Baltimore pitching in the last half of the third, and the Dodgers narrow the gap. Baltimore 4, Los Angeles 2. And here is Roseboro. Time called as Roseboro backs off momentarily. Drabowski to the move. The first pitch, Roseboro, is a check swing ball down low. He started to offer, took the full stride into the pitch, and then just snapped the bat. Held it steady. Ball 1. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Drabowski throws high, pop up. Behind the plate foul. Etchebarren coming back, looking up in the tough sun. The young Oriole catcher makes the grab for the final out of the inning. Roseboro fouls out the catcher Etchebarren. The Dodgers in their half of the third. 1 run without benefit of a base hit. No Oriole errors. 3 are left at the end of 3 complete now. The score, Baltimore 4, Los Angeles 2. Well, we'll go now to the Oriole half of the 4th inning. And the leadoff hitter will be second baseman Dave Johnson, to be followed by catcher Andy Etchebarren and the pitcher Mo Drabowski. Up on the mound, Joe Muller, who retired the Orioles in order in the 3rd inning. The first time that's occurred this afternoon here in this early inning. Top of the 4th. Dave Johnson, a strikeout victim against starter Don Drysdale in the 1st inning. Right-handed batter. Muller's first offering to Dave Johnson missed outside the ball. Loved the sense of humor of baseball fans, and I couldn't help but overhear that remark. Now the 1-0 pitch coming down. Swing, line drive, deep left field. Back of the ball goes Tommy Davis, still going back. He will not get to it. It bounces in the warning track and then into the seats. And racing to second base goes Dave Johnson. Hold on, it didn't get the seats. It bounced off that screen and then came back onto the playing field, and Tommy Davis had to retrieve it. The ball was in play all the way, bounced in the warning track, hit the screen in front of the bullpen out there in the left field corner, caromed back, and the umpire, Mel Steiner, right on the scene, gave us the safe call all the way. Johnson races in with a stand-up double. Line drive over the head of left fielder Tommy Davis that caromed off the screen and back away from Tommy. By the time he retrieved, Johnson had an easy double. And the batter, Andy Etchebarren. Pitch to Etchebarren. Ball outside. The double by Dave Johnson. The first hit the Birds have had off Joe Muller. Muller ready to go. Right-hander steps and throws. Swing ground ball off the first base side of the infield. Dave Johnson takes third as Lefevre makes the pickup and the throw to Parker at first in time to get Etchebarren. Giving himself up. Obviously trying to hit the ball to that first base side of the infield. Advances Dave Johnson to third with 1 out. And up to the plate now, pitcher Mo Drabowski. And 1 out. Runner at third is Dave Johnson. He is a fine base runner with good speed. And in this instance, the Dodgers will play their infield up all the way around. About a step back off the infield grass all the way. The pitch to Mo Drabowski. Ball low and outside. Parker at first, Gilliam at third, about even with the bag, and wide of it, of course. And the shortstop, Wills, second baseman Lefevre, just a step back off the infield grass. 1 out. Muller rocks to the wide. Pitch coming to Drabowski. Ball down low. 2 balls, no strikes. Drabowski, of at requested time. Stepped out very briefly, now back in. Drabowski hits them as he throws them from the third base side, right-handed. 2 balls, no strikes. The pitch coming. He squares the bunt, took the pitch low and outside for a ball. Just kind of ran the hands up the bat, looked at it all the way, and the Birds didn't have anything going. Apparently, Drabowski was just taking him that fashion. 3 balls, no strikes. 3-0 pitch. Moeller fires. Ball 4, low and outside. A walk to pitcher, Mo Drabowski. Moeller's first. And the second issued, or rather the third, issued by Dodger Hurling today. Just checking the scorecard. We hope you'll do it with us. It looks as though there have been 9 walks in this ball game so far, and we haven't cleared the top of the 4th. Kind of walking through Dodger Stadium. Runners at first and third, and now the Dodger infield backs off to what could be referred to as a double play depth. As Aparicio steps in, he's 0 for 2. Pitch to Aparicio, low, and a good save from Roseboro. Ball 1. It's Baltimore 4, Los Angeles 2, here on the top of the 4th. Johnson opened the Orioles 4th inning with a line double in the left field. Took third as Echebarren grounded out to the second baseman. Then Drabowski walked. And now the 1-0 pitch to Aparicio. Runners first and third. Here it is. Look out. Hit high inside. Louis rocks out of the way, and the count is 2-0. And you feel kind of a uneasy sort of tension mounting among the Dodger fans here. Bob Miller and Brewer. Brewer, left-hander, working in the Dodger bullpen. Brewer and Miller are both warming in the Dodger bullpen. Bob Miller, Jim Brewer. And Aparicio at the plate waiting a 2-0 pitch from Moeller. Here it is. High, ball 3. Aparicio now backs out with a quick look to third base coach Billy Hunter as to hitting or taking on 3-0. And you're right. Here's the pitch. He takes. Strike is called. 3-1. Now your 3-1 pitch to Aparicio. Moeller fires. Swing, ground ball off the third base side shortstop. Hard to the right. Makes the pickup. A throw at second base for 1 on to first base. No, they don't get the double play, and the run scores. Maury Wills had to go a little way toward the hole. Hard to his right. Gloved it. Flipped it on into Lefevre. That forced Drabowski coming into second base. Jim fired back to Parker at first, but not in time to get the speedy Aparicio, who knocks in the Orioles' 5th run of the afternoon. The 4th of Drabowski at second base. 2 down, and now the batter, left-hand hitting Russ Snyder, who's walked and singled and knocked it around. Quick throw to first, and this one almost found a spectator. Parker really had to get up in the air to grab what might have been an error on the part of Moeller. Aparicio with a good lead, but set by Moeller. Quick throw to first, back safely as Aparicio, diving back this time, and a much better throw from Moeller. Snyder requests time, backs out, looking to first base. Dodger infield, third baseman Gilliam up on that cutout portion of the infield. And the other infield is up a step or 2 against Snyder. Moeller throws. He's got a strike call. Right fielder Johnson kind of holds his own straight away right field to the left-hand hitting of Snyder, but center fielder Willie Davis shades a bit toward left center, up shallow and favoring the foul line in left field, Tommy Davis. 1 strike to count to Snyder. Moeller ready. Pitch. High and outside. 1-1.
Chuck, you were talking about the bases on balls, 9 here. The most bases on balls in the World Series is 19. If they approach that record, there might be a few late suppers.
Not to mention a few upset stomachs. And here's the ball. Inside and low to Snyder. 2-1. count to Snyder. 2 out in the inning. Aparicio leading first. Mulder sets. There goes Aparicio. Pitch is swung on and fouled out of play. Aparicio breaking with a pitch. Snyder fouled it out of play. 2-2. Well, this first game of the 66 series got off to a quick start with the Orioles scoring 3 times. They added the 4th run in the top of the second. The Dodgers came back with 1 in the second, 1 in the third. Now, 5-2 Baltimore. Ground ball hit toward the charging second baseman Lefevre. Comes up at a belt-high hop. Quick throw. The first gets Snyder, and that's it for Baltimore. In their half of the 4th inning, 1 run in the inning on 1 base hit. There were no Dodger errors, and a man is left. At the end of 3 1/2 innings of play, the score, Baltimore 5, Los Angeles 2. Will come on as a pinch hitter. Jim Barbieri, the second Dodger pinch hitter of the ball game. Stewart batted for Drysdale in second, and now Barbieri batting for Moeller here in the 4th. In 39 games this year, this little man hit .280. He's 5'7 and a half. Born and still lives in Schenectady, New York. Drabowski to the line, and the first pitch to the left-handed batter is a strike called over the inside portion around the knees. One strike pitch to Barbieri. A little tight this time, and the ball, 1 strike. He looks at the pitch low inside, and the count 2 balls, 1 strike. Jim played in the minors in the Dodger organization for 6.5 years before being brought up to the Dodgers early in July. 2-1 pitch to Barbieri. Strike called. 2-2. Jim? Barbieri backed out after the pitch and now steps in, ready to go again. Drabowski throws low. Full count. We've had a few of those this afternoon. When this little man was brought up from Spokane, he was leading the Pacific Coast League in hitting with a .355 average. Drabowski's 3-2 pitch to Barbieri. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Barbieri goes down swinging for Mo Drabowski, his second strikeout. 1 out of the inning. Top of the order, and Maury Wills. Now Maury will move around to the first base side of the plate as a left-handed batter. In the first inning, Maury walked, promptly stole second. In the second inning, he struck out. The good Dodger speed is made even a greater threat when a right-hander pitches because of their switch hitters and the added step they pick up. A strike is called to Maury Wills. Aparicio up rather shallow at shortstop. Dave Johnson laying back about normally. Powell just behind the bag at first. Pitch coming to Maury Wills. Strike 2 called. And Maury ran the hands up the bat and just waved at it. Didn't try to hit it. Just looked it into the mid of the catcher, Etchebarren. Left fielder Kurt Leffrey is up extremely shallow and toward the foul line. The center fielder Snyder also shallow toward the alley and left center. Drabowski's 2-strike pitch struck him out. Swing and a miss. Actually, a foul tip is signed by plate umpire Jakowski, and Etchebarren held on, and Drabowski records his third strikeout, the second out of the inning. Center field. 2 down, and here is Willie Davis. Hot to short, twice. 2 out and none on bottom of the 4th. Score, Baltimore 5, the Los Angeles Dodgers 2. The Birds 5 runs, 5 hits. The Dodgers 2 runs, 2 hits. Foul ball coming back up out of play. Changeup is hit foul down the first base side toward the Oriole dugout. And the count now 2 strikes to Willie Davis. 2-strike pitch to Willie Davis. High. A ball, 2 strikes. As opposed to the way the Orioles played Maury Wills, now Snyder is deep in center field, around toward the alley in right center. Lefty laying back deep in left field. Robinson deep in right. Pitch too high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And the infield is cut around to the first base side with Dave Johnson, the deepest man, almost to the edge of the outfield grass. 2-2 to Willie Davis. Drabowski fires. Struck him out. Swinging another foul tip, and Esther Barron held on. So Drabowski fans the side at the end of 4 full innings of play. The score, Baltimore 5, Los Angeles 2.
Well, as they batted for pitcher Joe Moeller, we'll have a new hurler coming on for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And here's Chuck Thompson to tell you all about it.
It's going to be Bob Miller replacing Moeller, who went 2 innings, allowed a base hit. Moeller walked the batter, didn't strike anybody out, and is charged with an Oriole run. And on in his place now is Bob Miller. Miller appeared in 29 games for the Dodgers this year. Check that, make that 46 games for Miller, 84 in the 3rd innings and 70 base hits. 29 walks, 58 strikeouts to an earned run of 2.79. And his 1-loss record, 4 wins, 2 defeats. Born in St. Louis, Missouri. Now lives here in California. In his 10th year as a pro, he led the National League in games in 1964 with 74, which is a Dodger record, tying Jim Constante's National League record, which has since been broken by Ted Abernathy. So we have Bob Miller. And the first batter to face Bob Miller will be right fielder Frank Robinson, who sparked the Birds in the very first inning. Following a walk to Russ Snyder, Frank Robinson exploded for a towering home run in the seats in the left field corner. And Brooks Robinson matched it with a solo home run. First Triple Crown winner since Mickey Mantle won it in 1956. Miller's first offering, low and outside, ball 1. In the fine and great city of Baltimore, a lot of people refer to this man as Mr. Hit. He's given Baltimore the greatest year. The 1-0 pitch to Frank Robinson. High fly ball, center field. Coming in on the ball, Willie Davis. Still coming, still coming. He's there and he's got it. Snyder retired and a fly ball to center fielder, Willie Davis. Now Brooks Robinson homered in the first and grounded to third in the 3rd inning. Bob Miller's first offering to Brooks Robinson. Swinging another high fly ball in the same general area. Here comes Willie Davis charging into the alley left center. Backpedaling, though, Wills the shortstop. And it's Wills the shortstop backing under it for the 2nd out of the inning. 2 up, 2 down. And now Boog Powell, who fouled to the 3rd baseman in the 1st inning and grounded to the shortstop in the 3rd. Miller's ready. The first offering to Powell. Low and outside. Ball 1. 1-0 pitch. Strike called as he picks up the outside portion. Right around the knees. 1-1. Good off-speed pitch from Bob Miller. 2 out and none on. Orioles 5, Dodgers 2 in the top of the 5th inning. Powell waits. Miller throws. Inside, came right on through Roseboro, back toward the screen. A count of 2 balls, 1 strike. Pitch to Boog Powell. Swing and a ground ball foul down the first base side, and the count now 2 balls, 2 strikes. The 63rd World Series. American League teams have a 37-25 edge in series competition, but the National League teams have won the last 3 series and 8 of the last 12. 2-2 to Powell. Ground ball down the third base side. It is a fair ball over the bag and out of the foul territory in deep left field corner. Powell falls down going around first base. Gets up and now races to second base and will get in there without attracting a throw. Powell turned the bag and fell down. And then recovered in time to move on into second base for a double. And time is called. First base coach Gene Woodling. I see the bag has come free down there. So you get an idea of the size of Boog Powell.
You suppose that might have been recorded somewhere on a seismograph as a minor quake?
Boog is a big, strong man. As he hit the bag, making his turn to take off for second base, the bag came free, and that is what threw Powell down onto all fours, hands and knees, and he recovered and took off to second base. Powell, left-hand hitting, slices a double down the third base line, much the way Wes Parker, the right-hand hitter in the second inning for the Dodgers, banged one down the first base line. In the program, Boog Powell is shown at 6'3" and 240 pounds. Years ago, when this young man was coming into the Orioles system, his weight was the chief topic of conversation. And no less a fine baseball man than Mr. Larry McPhail said that in his humble opinion, he felt that there were only 2 things that could keep Boog Powell from becoming a fine major league ball player: a knife and a fork. Major League Baseball set a new attendance record again this year, but almost 4 million persons who watched America's favorite game in 1966 aren't included in the record 25 million paid attendance. The big league clubs entertained 3,930,000 free groups as part of their contribution to their communities. Now, these groups included youngsters, handicapped persons, senior citizens, servicemen, hospitalized veterans, clergymen, and workers in community welfare programs. Well, the bag has been repaired at first base. Powell at second with a double. 2 down, and the batter will be Kurt Bleppery. Austin has gone to the mound and is chatting a little bit with Bob Miller. How about Kurt Bleppery? Bleppery ripped his first World Series base hit in the first inning, a line single into right field. In the third inning, the left-handed swinger popped to the shortstop. Miller ready to go. And his first pitch to Bleppery. Ball inside. Bleppery was originally signed in baseball to the New York Yankees. Miller ready. And the 1-0 pitch to left-hand batting Bleppery. Inside again, ball 2. This man, a very keen judge of balls and strikes, is Kurt Bleppery, and has contributed many timely walks to go along with his power of 23 home runs this year, and as a rookie a year ago, 22 home runs. 2-0 pitch. Outside high, ball 3. Right-handed Bob Miller working to the left-hand swinging Kurt Bleppery. The count 3-0. And there's the ball 4 outside to give Bleppery the intentional walk. Behind in the count 3-0, the Dodgers would not take the chance. Reflecting now on the visit of Austin to the mound, talking to Bob Miller, this may have been just exactly what he was supposed to do, pitching very carefully, and if he get behind to him, we'll just put him on. Here now, Dave Johnson, who struck out of the first inning and doubled in the 4th inning. The score, Baltimore 5, Dodgers 2, 2 out and 2 on, top of the 5th inning. Johnson, a right-handed batter. To the right-hand pitching of Bob Miller. Check swing, ground ball off the first base side. Second baseman Lefevre gobbles it up, throws on to first, and that's it for the Orioles in their half of the 5th inning. No runs, 1 base hit. There were no Dodger errors. 2 men are left on. At the end of 4 1/2 innings of play, the score, Baltimore 5, Los Angeles 2. Well, the first game of the '66 World Series now rolls to the last half of the 5th inning with the Orioles leading the Dodgers 5-2. And it's my great pleasure to bring the microphone around now in front of an old friend, a greatly respected broadcaster, Mr. Bob Prince. Bob, good to be with you.
Thank you, Chuck. Very good to be with you. And Lou Johnson leads it off here now in the Dodger fifth with a 5-2 score staring him in the face. Johnson walked in the third. Swings and he doesn't get the first pitch, a fastball on the outside, 0-1. Dodgers scoring is sort of in a walk-trot fashion here so far today. Lefebvre homered and trotted, and in the third they just walked around enough men until they finally got one in. So that accounts for their 2 runs. Johnson takes a wicked cut. 0-2. Lou Johnson playing right field this afternoon for the Dodgers. Mo Drabowski in relief of McNally sends it inside right off the pitch for a ball. 1-2. 55,941 looking on. Beautiful sun-drenched Southern California. Ball 1, strike 2 pitch. There's a fastball. He struck him out, and Drabowski now has recorded 4 consecutive strikeouts. Struck out the side in the 4th and leads off the 5th in the same fashion. 6 strikeouts in all. 5 of them for Mo Drabowski. Here's Tommy Davis, who grounded the third his first time up and drew a base on balls in the third with McNally pitching. And then when McNally walked Lefebvre, Parker came to the plate to face Drabowski and struck out. Tommy Davis fouling it back, 0-1. Tommy, you know, won 2 consecutive National League batting championships before an unfortunate injury struck him down and really hampered his ability to stay in there and swing. No balls, 1 strike, 5-2. The Baltimore Orioles in the bottom of the 5th, 1 out and none on. Outfield around to the left to Tommy Davis. Fastball's in at the letters, 0-2. National League umpire Bill Jakowski calling the balls and strikes with Nestor Shylock at first, Chris Pellicutis, Johnny Rice, Mel Steiner, and Cal Drummond rounding out this fine crew of umpires. A ball, 1-2. A little bit of a gap in right center field. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and there's a swing and a foul looped over to the right out of play. 335 down both lines, and then it goes right on out to 370 and ultimately 410 straight away in one of the world's truly most beautiful ballparks, Dodger Stadium. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Drabowski working to Tommy Davis, the right-hand batter. Lines a foul way down the right field line and out of play, 1-2. We've had 1 World Series record tied here today by Baltimore. Successive home runs by Frank and Brooks Robinson. Puts them in the elite with the Yankees in Washington, who did it. And they flirted with a couple of others. The 1-2 pitch, just upstairs, 2-2. Drabowski's flirting with 1 now. He has retired 4 on strikeouts. The record is 6 in succession. And this, of course, only World Series we're talking about. He struck him out. That is strikeout number 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row have gone down. Horace Eller of Cincinnati, way back in 1919, had 6 consecutive strikeouts. And that is the record. Now Lefebvre, the switch batter, who homered in the second and walked in the third. A strike at the belt call. Mo Drabowski was 5-0 with 4 saves as a reliever. Turned in several brilliant efforts, the most notable of which occurred back in July when he relieved Braybender, worked 4 perfect innings, struck out 8, including 5 straight to defeat Detroit. There's a looping foul to the left side and back out of play, 0-2. By Frank Robinson in the first inning had a man aboard. Russ Snyder who had walked. Then Brooks Robinson tattooed 1 down the left center line. No balls, 2 strikes to Lefebvre. Foul ball down the right line. Hit a curveball, hit it deep into right. Andy Etchebarren walked in the Baltimore second and scored when Russ Snyder singled. And in the 4th, David Johnson doubled the left, moved over to third on an infield out, and scored on a force play hit into by Luis Aparicio. So that accounts for the 5 runs for Baltimore. We're in the bottom of the 5th, 2 down, none on. 5-2 the Orioles. Williams straight out. Pitch to Lefevre is let up on. He stays outside with it. A ball, 1-2. One ball, 2 strike windup. Drabowski delivers. He struck him out, and he ties the record. That's 6 consecutive strikeouts as Lefevre goes down swinging. And at the end now of 5 innings, as that was 3 up and 3 down, Baltimore leading the Los Angeles Dodgers 5-2. We pause 30 seconds for station identification.
You've grown up around here, chances are you take Saratoga Vichy for granted. Well, don't. What you're being so blasé about happens to be one of the most extraordinary natural products in all the world. People send for it from all over, both for its curious taste and for that remarkably long-lived carbonation the Vichy people are always talking about. Saratoga Vichy, the only mixer we know of that people built a city just to be near.
WGY, WGFM, Schenectady.
So it is Drysdale's game to lose as it now stands, and Drabowski's to win as it now stands. You're going to play Etchebarren, a right-hand batter, pretty well around due left. They'll gap him in right center field, and he bunted right through that one for a strike, 0-1. Seeing Gilliam deep and Parker awfully deep, it looked like he was trying to push that ball a little bit toward first and get it down there where he could leg it out for a base hit. Chuck Thompson told you earlier, Etchebarren is possessed of fine speed. Here's the 0-1 from the right-hand pitcher. A big swing on the slider. 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes. Miller ready to come back with it. Into the dirt and popped up into the air, caught by Etchebarren. A ball and 2 strikes. One ball, 2 strikes. 5-2 Baltimore as they lead it off here in the 6th inning. Bob Miller, for the better part of the Dodgers 66 campaign, was Walter Alston's long relief man. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Looped out over second, and Lefevre can't get it as he went back very magnificently to get to it. It'll be fielded by Lou Johnson, and it's a base hit. It appeared that he jammed him, but he hit a little looper out where Lefevre just quite couldn't get to it. Here's Mo Drabowski, and the fans here, ever mindful of fairness as they always are in Los Angeles, give him a very fine, warm round of applause. There you see the value of the number 8 hitter in a baseball lineup. He can lead it off with a base hit like that. Your pitcher's in a position to bunt. There's a lot of different things that they can try. He bunts the ball, and it's a foul ball. Etchebarren will be at second and now come back. A lot of times, too, your number 8 batter, and he is truly a most essential man in your lineup, can keep that inning going for you and help you keep your pitcher in the ball game. And then turn your lineup over where you're right up at the head of the order again. So Etchebarren getting the base hit here puts Baltimore in a bunting position if they so wish. No balls, 1 strike. Gilliam is up tight at third, ready to charge. Parker holding to the runner Etchebarren. Throw over by Miller, no damage. Bob, the right-hander, checks at first, delivers, and Drabowski bunts foul at the feet of the catcher, Johnny Roseborough. Strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes. 5-2 Baltimore here in the 6th inning. Andy Etchebarren at first on a base hit. That's the 7th surrendered by Dodger pitching. Gilliam is still suspicious and is up close at third. He bunts it fairly. Miller comes up. He'll go to second with the ball. In time there. And Etchebarren really had that Wills hopping to get out of the way. A fine play by Miller on to Wills. But I'll say one thing. If there was to have been a throw to first, Mr. Wills wasn't going to be able to make it. Etchebarren really went into him. So that'll be a force play, and the out will go 1-6, or pitcher to short. Leaving Drabowski now, the base runner, one away, to Luis Aparicio, who is 0 for 3, but with an RBI. Driving in a run in the fourth inning on a force play. Slide twice to right. Right-hand batting Aparicio takes inside low, ball one. Sinking type of delivery sent in by Bob Miller. Baltimore's Dave McNally went 2 1/3 innings, allowing 2 runs on 2 hits, struck out 1, walking 5, and of course that led to his undoing. 1 ball, no strikes. Aparicio fouls to the right out of play, 1-1. They play him fairly straight out, and they give him a pretty good gap, actually. They spread to the lines on Aparicio and gap him in right center and left center. One ball, 1 strike. Top half of the 6th inning. Miller checks on Drabowski, and there's a ball hit sharply down in the hole at short. Nice backhand stab by Wills on for the out at second and not at time at first. Almost the identical play in the 4th inning on which a Baltimore run scored. When Wills beautifully went into the hole to backhand the ball over by third. Got it on to Lefebvre in time, but the relay on to first could not pick up the speedy Luis Aparicio. So now Russ Snyder walking out, and one of the things he's doing without any question is giving Mo Drabowski a little opportunity to breathe and relax and get ready. So he's going back, talking a little bit here to Frank Robinson. Drabowski, being a base runner, of course, a little extra breathing room for him as he walked out. Now slowly gets back into the batter's box, taps his cleats. Russ Snyder, who walked in the 1st inning and scored in front of Frank Robinson's booming home run to left. Then singled a drive-in run in the 2nd inning and bounced to second base in the 4th, so that he's 1 for 2 on the day. Up high, ball 1. A ball and no strike. The delivery is in low, ball 2, 2-0. Balls and no strikes. Russ Snyder, left-hand batter. They play him as a left field hitter, and Tommy Davis favors the left line with Gilliam up tight at third. The look to Aparicio. Pitch from Miller is up high, about the bill of the cap. Ball 3-0. As we viewed the Dodgers over the season, they rarely walk too many men. No strikes. And the pitch. He walked him, and that'll be walk number 5. That'll put Aparicio on into second base. We're in this ballgame now. We've had 11 bases on balls. The Dodgers receiving the benefit of 6 of them. And now, that's the 5th walk surrendered by Dodger pitching. And the 2nd given up by Bob Miller since he came on in the 5th. And now Frank Robinson, who hit a big home run in the 1st inning and then flied to left and flied to center. Robinson's home run was his 2nd series home run, having done that as a Cincinnati player against the Yankees in 1961. 2 men on, 2 men out. 5-2 in the top of the 6th, Baltimore. Outfield swung deep left. Miller steps off the mound. Aparicio gets back into second. Right fielder Johnson giving Frank Robinson better than 90 feet of the line. He's way over. Miller ready, and the pitch. Curve, he hung upstairs with it. Ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Orioles scored 3 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the fourth. The Dodgers 1 in the second and 1 in the third. One ball and no strikes. Robinson pops a little foul off the first base side. Running hard, Roseboro, and he'll not quite get to it. The ball gets into the loge boxes just down to the left of the Baltimore dugout, which is located on the first base side here at Dodger Stadium. Ball 1 and strike 1. Frank Robinson. He must have wrapped up just about every title in the American League other than the Triple Crown that Chuck Thompson told you about. He naturally led in home runs and runs batted in, runs scored, doubles, batting average. Might even end up with the MVP. Outside, ball 2, sinking pitch low. Ron Peronowski, the left-hander for the Dodgers, is now up and warming. Two balls, a strike. Robinson still crowding that plate as he did when he was a National League batter. 2-1 pitch. He swung and missed it. The bat went foul way down the left field line. That's about as long as I've seen a bat go foul.
Frank has done this on numerous occasions this year, and actually, we feel in Baltimore, he's hung up the all-time record for distance and perhaps the number of times. I would say that going back over American League players of the past 10 years, only Minnie Minoso's ever thrown one any farther than he has.
I'll tell you one thing, with that swing, he blew all the air out of the infield. Oh, did he cut. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Miller ready now. He wants a decision here if he can get it favorably, of course. 2-2 pitch, swinging a foul back. He jammed him nicely on the pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Baltimore 5 and the Dodgers 2 in the top half of the 6th inning. 2 men on and 2 men out. Frank Robinson is the first Triple Crown winner in the big league since Mickey Mantle in 1956, and actually led the league in 6 major categories: hitting, home runs, runs batted in, total bases, runs, and slugging percentage. 2-2. Reach for, pop foul, out of play, and the bat's gone out now in between the pitcher's mound and third base. Two balls, 2 strikes. I, of course, have worked many games here at Dodger Stadium, being in the National League, where Chuck Thompson hasn't had that opportunity, but they have developed the tremendous habit here of bringing all their transistor radios, and we can hear our voices coming right back in. It's sort of an eerie thing. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and Robinson is called out. He tried to save it, but it was not a swing, and it's strike 3. So the inning showed for Baltimore in the 6th. No runs, 1 hit, no Dodger errors, 2 Baltimoreans stranded. At the end of 5.5 innings of play, Baltimore 5 and the Dodgers 2. Well, now let's see. Will the 55,941 Dodger Stadium fans see history made? The burning question is simply this. Mo Drabowski has struck out the last 6 batters. That ties a major league record we told you about, set back in the early 1900s. And if he can put away Parker, as he did in the 3rd, he'll establish a new all-time consecutive strikeout record. Horace Eller of Cincinnati did it in 1919. So Wes Parker takes a strike. No balls, 1 strike. We're in the bottom of the 6th. 5-2, Baltimore leading. Outfield straight away to Parker, a switch batter. Drabowski's curveball lashed for left field. Going over to get to it is Bleffery, and he'll stow it away. That'll retire Parker, but stop the threat of the record, at least for now. Now here's Junior Gilliam, who has walked twice, and in the 3rd inning when he walked, the bases were loaded, so he picked up an RBI. Gilliam, a switch batter. This ability of the Dodger infield to have the only all-switch-hitting infield in the history of baseball is something, because you just do nothing but turn them around when you bring in another pitcher. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Must be pretty discouraging to managers when they know that they can bring in a righty or a lefty and 4 fellows aren't going to be hurting too much. They're just going to turn around. Up high a ball. There are many who try to throw the left-handers against the Dodgers in order to make them right-hand hitters so that they can at least get the advantage of one less step in their favor. Here's a foul coming back out of play. Drabowski with one down. Drabowski, since walking Gilliam with the bases loaded, has settled down and has retired the last 8 men to face him. And only one ball now being hit out of the infield, and that was Parker's fly ball to left. There's a looper hit out back of short. Aparicio drifting back on the edge of the grass, getting under, and there are 2 down. Dodgers 6th inning, where Baltimore leads 5-2 in Game 1 of the 1966 World Series. John Roseborough is 0 for 2, but it's not his fault. A sensational catch by Russ Snyder in the 2nd inning robbed him of a base hit. There's a liner toward left, and coming up for it, Bleffery, and makes the belt-high catch that retires the side. So it's another 1-2-3 inning for Mo Drabowski. And at the end of 6 full innings of play, Baltimore 5-7-0, the Dodgers 2-2-0. Chuck Thompson, Mo Drabowski has certainly been a tower of strength, and he's been a well-traveled pitcher, and perhaps in all of his travels never felt he'd end up here in a World Series.
Actually, one man responsible for his being in this World Series with the Orioles this afternoon is not eligible to play in the World Series, is a member of the Baltimore Orioles, a reserve catcher, out the greater part of the year due to injuries. And I'm referring to Charlie Lau. It was Charlie Lau's recommendation to Baltimore that they obtain Mo Drabowski. And Charlie went on record at that time saying that if you do, you've got a fine chance of winning a pennant.
Standing in now to lead off the Baltimore 7th, they lead the Dodgers 5-2 in this first game. Brooks Robinson, who hit a home run backing up Frank Robinson's 2-run homer, then bounced to third and popped to short. He's 1 for 3. Stands in a right-hand batter. They'll play him to pull. They gap him in right center, and the Dodger infield on the left side overswings toward the foul line. Bob Miller works to him. Robinson cuts on a slider, doesn't get it. Strike 1. Lefevre is playing back rather deep near the edge of the outfield grass. Pitch that sank a little low, a ball. Miller appeared to be slightly unhappy with the call. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Orioles picked up 3 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the fourth. The Dodgers 1 in the second and third. 1-1 pitch inside off the fifth. Ball 2, 2-1. You're just getting into our broadcast. Don Drysdale went the front 2 for 4 runs. Moeller the next 2 for an inning, or rather the next 2 for a run. And Miller's been on since the fifth. 2 balls, 1 strike. Robinson, a hard smash toward short, takes the big bill hop for Maury Wills. He throws across to Wes Parker, and there's 1 away. Now Boog Powell then fouled out to third, grounded to short, double in the 5th inning, and with his ponderous thundering action, tore first base loose. They had to replace it. Going to play him straight out. Right fielder Johnson has deepened his position considerably, and they're overshifting Lefevre and Parker. Hard wrap off the right side. Back on the grass, Lefevre, he's up and throws him out. Boog Powell retired, second to first. 2 down. Kurt Bleffery, single to right, popped up to short, drew an intentional walk, 1 for 2 on the day. 55,941 in beautiful Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California, witnessing the getaway of this exciting classic. In there for a strike. Sandy Koufax, of course, scheduled to go tomorrow for the Dodgers, and Jim Palmer, who will not be 21 until the 15th of October, will be his opponent. Inside, did it hit him? He's dancing around and is now talking to the plate umpire, Bill Jakowski. best way to get that one is wear shoe polish and then get hit on the foot. Boy, that first time that ever happened in the World Series, they talked and wrote about that for hours. Nippy Jones from the Cardinals. One ball, one strike pitch. Curveball hung up high around his cheekbones. 2 balls, a strike. And a 2-1 pitch. Referee takes a curveball that came in too low, 3-1. Conceivably, this would be Miller's last inning of work, as he is the scheduled batter in the 7th. Baltimore leading 5-2, top of the 7th, 2 out and none on. Bob Miller on the 3-1 pitch. The referee, a big bouncer, hit toward Lefevre. He's up and throws, second to first, and the out is recorded and the side retired. So it's 3 up and 3 down. And at the end of 6 1/2 innings, the score in this ball game is 5-2 in favor of Baltimore. Dodgers go to their bench and bring up very powerful left-hand swinging Wes Covington to bat in place of Bob Miller. Miller becomes therefore today the first Dodger relief pitcher or pitcher to stop the Baltimore club from scoring. Turning in 3 fine innings, no runs, allowing 2 hits, and getting 1 strikeout, issuing 2 walks, 1 intentional. So Covington comes on now. Drabowski's in there with a soft curveball to the outside corner, which Covington took for a strike. Moe is retired 10 in a row with 6 strikeouts in there, and no hits since the 2nd inning when Parker doubled, but that wasn't off Drabowski. That was off young Dave McNally, the starter. Baltimore leading 5-2. The outfield is straight out and deep to Covington. Tried to check his swing, but it didn't help. Strike 2. Drabowski is moving that ball around very nicely. He's pitching to his spot beautifully. Up and in, down and away, picking up corners, changing speed. The 0-2 pitch is a curveball, fouled back. 0-2. Baltimore infield, Brooks Robinson at third, Luis Aparicio at short, Johnson at second, and Boog Powell at first, with Blefary, Schneider, and Robinson in the outfield, Drabowski, and, of course, Echeverria in the battery. Ron Peranowski up for the Dodgers in the bullpen, left-hander. Covington strikes out swinging. That's 9 strikeouts and 8 for Drabowski. Punches at one and fouls it off to the left side. Morey walked, struck out twice. The last 10 recorded out by Drabowski, 7 of them have been strikeouts. So Morey Wells is in. They overshift way to the left to him, takes it high about the bill of a cap of ball, 1-1. Brooks Robinson comes up a little bit to guard against the tap down that way. The 1-1 pitch. Line foul past Preston Gomez, Dodger third base coach. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Baltimore leading here in the bottom of the 7th, 1 out and none on, 5-2. Willie Davis, the on-deck batter. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now Drabowski ready to go. There's a little chop toward third. Brooks Robinson comes up, gets it foul. 1-2. Two records tied here today, in case you're just tuning in. Frank Robinson and Brooks Robinson homering back-to-back in the first inning. has a record of 2 homers in 1 inning. And the 6th consecutive strikeouts by Drabowski ties with a long-standing record. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Stepping out now, asking something of plate umpire Bill Jakowski, and will want to have the baseball examined. Wills is full of all kinds of tricks. It's one of the reasons why he's such a tough competitor. He'll do anything he can to distract you. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pop toward third, foul. He took a shot at it. Robinson, the Oriole right fielder, is about 110, 120 feet off the right field line. They don't look for Wills to pull. Then they pull Russ Snyder way over, and Bleppery's almost on the left field foul line and very shallow. Much the same type of a defense they set up at one time against Richie Ashburn, who is this type of hitter. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Underneath. Just missed with it. 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes in the windup. And he lost him on a walk. So that is the 6th walk. Second given up by Drabowski. There have been 11 bases on balls so far in this game. Here's Willie Davis now, who twice has popped up to short and once struck out. If you're going to double him up with the Wills, you're going to have to get a one-hopper somewhere in a sudden hurry. There's a liner to left for a base hit. Coming up fast forward is Bleppery. Fires the ball into third baseman Brooks Robinson, and the Dodgers have runners at first and second and 1 away. Went to the opposite field on a curveball and lined to left for a single. That is their 3rd hit in the ball game and their 1st since Parker doubled in the 2nd inning. Now Lou Johnson, who has inspired this Dodger ball club, stands in. He walked and scored in the 3rd inning. Flied to center and struck out him around the walk. Pitch to Lou. Bunted foul. Strike 1. He tried to drop that one down third to load him up for Tommy Davis. Typical Los Angeles Dodger maneuver. They'll do all sorts of things. And they get away with it enough because if they didn't, they wouldn't be here in the World Series. 0-1 to the right-hand batting Lou Johnson. Runners lead at first and second, 1 away. Wills is going. The ball popped up towards third. And it's going into foul territory, which will nullify the infield fly rule. Brooks Robinson makes the catch. But Wills was going on the play. So Wills back to second base and Willie Davis to first. And Tommy Davis, the left fielder, who grounded out to third, drew a walk and struck out standing there. Baltimore leading the Dodgers 5-2 in the bottom of the 7th inning, 2 out and 2 on. Batting Tommy Davis. Wills a good lead at second. Nobody holding, of course, on Willie Davis at first. Tommy Davis takes a slider for a strike, 0-1. No balls, 1 strike. Field overshifted to the left for this fella. The 0-1 pitch. That slider moved outside the ball. 1-1. Well, the gentleman known out here rather affably as the Vulture, Phil Regan, is up for the Dodgers. replacing Peronowski. 1 ball, 1 strike pitch. Hit up the middle, over to the right goes second baseman Johnson. Flips it on to Aparicio, and Willie Davis is in a big argument. He didn't think that he was out. With his speed, he thought he had it, and Chris Palacutis says it was bang, bang, and you're on the other side of it. A hot play on a bouncing ball right up the middle from Johnson to Aparicio to force Willie Davis and retire the Dodgers. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 left. At the end of 7, the Baltimore Orioles lead the Dodgers 5-2.
And now we've got Ron Peronowski, and Ron in 55 games for the Dodgers this year, won 6, lost 7, and pitched to a 3.18, and will face the right-hand hitting Oriole rookie second baseman Dave Johnson. Prince.
Okay, Chuck, you know, it never ceases to amaze me. Every time you see a real fine play, it's so often that man leads off the next inning, and Johnson certainly made an excellent play there on that ball to save a Dodger run and perhaps a big rally, you know. He leads it off, and he's 1 for 3, a double. Peronowski sends him a little low curveball, ball 1. Drysdale, Moeller, Miller, and Peronowski. 1 ball, no strike. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and it's on the corner for a strike call, 1-1. Peronowski and plate umpire Bill Jakowski engaged in what has to be several years ago one of the most humorous things in baseball. There's a ball hit right up the middle, a solid base hit. Andy Etchebarren, who walked and scored, grounded to second, and singled to right, will now stand in. Peronowski, walking in from the bullpen, getting ready to pitch, had taken his small transistor radio. He loves to listen to music in the bullpen. And he had it in his glove, and umpire Bill Jakowski, when he was out on the mound, was walking around trying to figure out where was the music coming from. And they finally took the transistor off him and turned it off and put it someplace else. Andy Etchebarren, a right-hand batter. David Johnson is 2 for 4. Fine young second baseman. Baltimore, you know, got this far with 4 rookies, outstanding ones in their lineup. Etchebarren takes up high, ball 1. 1 ball, no strike. Ron checks the runner at first in Dave Johnson. Etchebarren cuts at this one, fouls it over to the right out of play, 1-1. The Orioles scored 3 times in the first inning, 1 in the second and 1 in the fourth for their 5 runs. The Dodgers in the second and third, a run each for their 2. It's 5 runs, 8 hits, and no errors. Baltimore, Dodgers 2-3-0. Drysdale thus far on the hook for it. Drabowski trying to grab the ring. Strike 1. Bunts this one rather hard back to Peronowski. He goes on a low throw to Wills, who holds the ball, has no play available on a fine play where Wills that time just held the base in his position and gets the out. Chuck Thompson has an interesting note here.
Just that in the first inning today, the Baltimore Orioles scored as many runs as American League clubs scored in 5 previous games at Dodger Stadium. Mo Drabowski, a fellow with a pretty good sense of humor, too. The phone rang in the KCA's bullpen one night. The voice said, "Warm up Krause." They did. The voice belonged to Drabowski.
A foul back on a bunt try, strike 1. Baseball, and particularly teams, need 1 or 2 fellas that are on what they sometimes call the flaky side of life. The fellas that keep you laughing and don't let you take things too seriously. And don't believe in all the years we've all been together in baseball, we've ever seen one club that didn't have 1 or 2 like that. It's most necessary. The pressures that are on these young men are truly tremendous. No balls, 1 strike. Mo takes it low for a ball, 1-1. Shortened up as though he might be bunting. Now Parker in to say something to Peronowski. Undoubtedly wants to know when Ron is going to the plate with the pitch so that he will not be breaking in when Ron might be throwing the ball over to first base. They usually have a sign or 2 so that First baseman knows exactly when the pitcher's going to come to the plate with it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mo swings, and it's 1-2. Junior Gilliam, very fine Dodger third baseman, and a fellow who down through the years has been their glue man, is up close to third base still. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Drabowski, the 4th Dodger pitcher. High for a ball, and the shortening up as though the bunt brought in both third and first on that one. Gilliam, when he was maybe a year or 2 younger and batting just in behind Maury Wills, would have as much credit for Wills' tremendous efforts in stealing as anybody, because he could afford to go deep in the strike count and give Wills the shot. 2-2 pitch. Bunted foul, and that'll be a strikeout for Ron Drabowski. Strikeout number 3. 2 down, and Luis Aparicio stands in. He is 0 for 4, but with an infield out in the 4th inning, drove in a run. Baltimore leading 5-2. A lot of times, Wills would attempt to gauge the motion of the pitcher so that he could steal. And with a man like Gilliam up there who could afford to go deep into the strike count like 0-2, Wills would get that ample and extra opportunity. And then if Wills looked like he might be out, Gilliam would foul it away and save him. Did a tremendous job. He truly is one of the game's great performers. Aparicio, right-hand batter, runner at first base, Andy Etchebarren. A strike is called, 0-1. No balls, 1 strike. Russ Snyder, the center fielder, the on-deck batter. Drabowski's ball tailed away that time outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dodgers in with 7 8-base hits. And the Orioles are in with 8, and the Dodgers in with 3. Here's the 1-1. There's a line drive right to short. Wills leaps high and grabs it. He timed that beautifully and leaped high to grab it and retire the side. So in the Baltimore 8th inning, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left. And we go now to the Dodger 8th, Baltimore leading 5-2. Into the Dodger 8th inning, Lefevre, Parker, and Gilliam, the scheduled 3 batters. Baltimore leading 5-2. Lefevre hit a booming home run in the 2nd inning. Walked in the 3rd. And struck out in the 5th. He's up left-handed against Mo Drabowski. Dave McNally went 2 1/3 for 2 runs on 2 hits. Drabowski has pitched a very strong ball game since coming on with 1 out in the 3rd. His fastball is outside, ball 1. Stu Miller listening in the bullpen. I'm informed by Chuck Thompson. Here's the 1-0. A strike called. Has had some pain in his shoulder, and Hank Bauer allows him to say whether he feels good or not. And that if he feels loose and no pain, he brings himself in, or otherwise he says, I can't do it. 1-1. A ball, 2-1. Gene Brabender, a young right-hander, is up. And he has done yeoman-like work for Baltimore, who fought and clawed their way into their first World Series with 4 or 5 rookies actually on their roster. The 2-ball, 1 strike pitch is popped up. Way up she goes. And Drabowski's telling Brooks Robinson to get it. Moves right out in front of the mound. It is rather unusual, Chuck Thompson, to have 4 or 5 rookies stay in a ball club and be able to do what they've done.
One of the big reasons the rookies have been able to play as well as they have for Baltimore this year is the steadying influence of men like Brooks Robinson at 3rd, Luis Aparicio, the shortstop, and the magnificent Frank Robinson in right field. He's kept the kids loose, kept them going.
Here's Wes Parker. He doubled, struck out, line to left. You're just getting into the broadcast with us. In the 4th and 5th innings, Mo Drabowski struck out at 6 in a row, and that tied a World Series record. And then Parker lined to left so that Mo lost the opportunity there to establish a new one. Line drive, hooking foul down the right field line, strike 2. Wes Parker is possessed of magnificent hands. He truly is a sight to watch at first base. He just moves like a cat, and almost any kind of a hop or anything, he has what they call soft hands in baseball, and he's right there, very fluid. No balls, 2 strikes. Just missed upstairs. Drabowski's fastball above the letters, 1 and 2. Wes and his father play in many bridge tournaments in the off-season, and they're considered extremely good. Ball high, 2-2, a little chin music that time. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Baltimore 5, Dodgers 2. In the bottom of the 8th, 1 out and none on. Two. Foul straight back. Well, I think tomorrow would be one day that even the incomparable Sandy Koufax would have to admit that he can't pack them in. They'll be packed in regardless. But normally, and it has been a tremendous thing here in the National League, whenever Koufax was going, the attendance just went zooming. No matter what park he appeared in, he was always good for a big house. Change-up hit foul off first. Good motion by Drabowski, and then changed off his curveball. 2-2. Parker getting out in front of it. Robinson, Aparicio, Johnson, and Powell, the Baltimore infield. Now the 2-2 delivery. Fastball struck him out swinging. 10 strikeouts, and 9 of them for Drabowski. He might command a little ink tomorrow. Gilliam walked twice, and in the 3rd, with the bases loaded to drive in a run, popped to short in the 6th. There are 2 down. 1 strike. They might possibly, somebody, enterprising reporter, ask Drabowski if he ever pitched a better game. But it'll never be quite as good as the one question asked of Casey Stengel. Up high a ball when Don Larson pitched the perfect no-hitter when somebody said to him, "Did you ever see Larson pitch a better one?" Ball 1, strike 1. Foul back by Junior. 1 and 2. Bottom of the 8th in game 1. 55,941. Looking on. Baltimore has 5 runs on 8 hits. The Dodgers 2 runs on 3 hits. Gilliam a switch batter. There's a liner toward left, and coming up for it, Bleffery, and makes the belt-high catch that retires the side. So it's another 1-2-3 inning for Mo Drabowski. The score in this ball game is 5-2 in favor of Baltimore. Moving now into the top half of the 9th inning. Well, what Baltimore hopes is productive number 1, number 2, the end of the line. They lead 5-2. Russ Snyder, Frank Robinson, and Brooks Robinson. Russ Snyder, the center fielder, walked and scored in the 1st inning, singled to left in the 2nd to drive in a run, grounded to 2nd, and walked. So that on the day, he's 1 for 2. He's a left-hand batter. Facing left-hand pitching Ron Perinoski. First delivery is a ball bounced over the mound, going out toward 2nd. Wills comes up behind 2nd. A dart throw over there to Wes Parker, and there's 1 away. 1 down now to Frank Robinson, who has 1 for 4, but it was a big one. A home run, his 2nd World Series homer, having done so back in 1961 against the Yankees. But in the 1st inning here, with Russ Snyder aboard, he found the power alley, which is about just a little bit off the foul line, down both lines. You have to pull the ball here normally to get home runs. This park yields very few on the year. The outfield swung deep and around to the left. Perinoski delivers a curveball, a mighty swing, and a foul over into the Dodger dugout on the 3rd base side. Strike 1. That time, Perinoski gave him a big motion, took something off his breaking ball. Outfield swung left. ball lined for left field. Tommy Davis coming up for it is not going to be able to get to it. It loops in there for a base hit. That's the 9th Baltimore hit. The batter now, Brooks Robinson, without question, one of the greatest fielding third basemen in baseball. And judged by many to be the greatest. He's 1 for 4. He homered in the first inning. That's the second hit surrendered by Peronowski. Gets a fastball strike call at the knees, 0-1. No balls, 1 strike. 1 away, 1 on, and it's 5-2 in the top of the 9th Baltimore. There's Brooks Robinson lining to Maury Will. A brilliant play by Little Maury as he ran over into the hole and leaped up and backhanded it. Second stellar play by Maury Will. So there are 2 away in the Baltimore 9th. And Boog Powell, 1 hit in 4 at-bats, a double back in the 5th inning. Standing in, double to left. And fouled out to third and grounded to short and second his other appearances. 5-2 Baltimore. Quick throw to first base. Frank Robinson back. Mr. Robinson, incidentally, is caught in the depth base stealer, one of the smarter men maneuvering around out there. So he's always a threat to be doing something. Peronowski delivers, and he just is outside with it, a ball, 1-0. This game has seen Drysdale, who is currently on the hook for it, Moeller, Miller, and now Ron Peronowski. Peronowski delivers, and there's a drive hit deep to right, and Johnson comes up just a little bit because he was pretty deep to begin with. And a little white in that ball came popping out of the glove down the line there a little bit, but he held on to it, and that retires the side. So in the Baltimore 9th, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left. And we go now to the Dodger 9th inning, Baltimore leading 5-2. Manager Hank Bauer has now made a defensive change, moving Russ Snyder from center field to left in place of Kurt Bleffery, and Paul Blair has gone into center field. So that if you're keeping a scorecard, Paul Blair would be batting in the number 6 spot in place of Bleffery and playing center field. Dodgers now go with Johnny Roseboro, who is 0 for 3, but who was really robbed on a sensational catch in the 2nd inning by Russ Snyder when he made a beautiful play on a ball that looked like it was in the gap for extra bases, as Chuck described for you, and Snyder came from out of nowhere. Dodgers have Ron Fairley in the on-deck circle. Ball high from Mo Drabowski. 1 ball, no strike pitch. Ball 2 upstairs, 2-0. Stu Miller is listening again in the Baltimore bullpen. It's 5-2, but the Baltimore Orioles know about the famed Dodger charge in the 9th, as do 9 other clubs in the National League. Ball 3 high, 3-0 to Roseboro. Andy Etchebarren out to have a word in Pat Moe. Moe at Trinity College and majored in economics and is a stockbroker and watches the market carefully. 3-0 pitch. Strike as he picked up that inside corner. 3-1. 55,941. Drabowski working quickly. Strike 2 call, 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes, Roseboro, the leadoff batter. And the 3-2 pitch, he struck him out swinging. So he went right to the brink of the plank and then came right back down it with 3 strikes. That's 11 strikeouts, 10 for Drabowski. Now here's Ron Fairley, Southern California boy. Has won some very big ball games for the Dodgers. He's batting at .288. Plays either first or out in right field. He had 14 home runs, but they were some big ones at the right time and 20 doubles in the season just completed. 1 away. Sinking pitch low, ball 1 to the left-hand batter. Baltimore leading 5-2. In this first of the 1966 World Series. The 1-0 pitch. Strike swinging. Now Drabowski is pitching out of sunlight in the shadow. And this, of course, is the added advantage. You see the ball, then all of a sudden it disappears from you. Just upstairs, ball 2, 2-1. For many years, down through the years, and of course you heard it so much because the Yankees were always in the World Series. You played over there in Yankee Stadium in the fall. Drabowski started to deliver and fairly stepped out. And time was called by plate umpire Bill Jakowski. But pitching in the shadows of Yankee Stadium, Latter had a tough time. 2-1 pitch, fairly fouls it straight back, 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, none on. Dodger 9th inning. Baltimore 5, the Dodgers 2. Now the 2-2 pitch. Struck him out swinging. Phenomenal performance. Chuck Thompson, I don't need to ask you if he's ever looked any better.
The answer in a word, no.
Just a magnificent pitching performance by Mo Drabowski. He struck out 6 in a row in the 4th and 5th. He came on in the 3rd with 1 away. He gets a little high there to Wills, ball 1. Maury's 0 for 2, striking out twice, walking twice, and in with 1 stolen base. There's a strike call, 1-1. Down toward second base. Johnson is up. He throws, and Baltimore beats the Dodgers in the front game as the Baltimore Orioles rush out to really storm Mo Drabowski for a sensational pitching performance. And Baltimore takes them in the front one. The 9th inning here, 3 up and 3 down. M to 9. It's all over. Baltimore 5 and the Dodgers 2.
This is Joe Garagiola. The World Series is right around the corner, and so are the thrills, the relaxation, the laughs, and the memories that make it the #1 sports event in America. To help make this World Series more enjoyable for you, your Dodge dealer has a copy of Joe Garagiola's Fun and Facts World Series scorebook, and it's free, too. For the fan who wants to keep his World Series memories right where he can call on them, there are score sheets for 7 games. You'll also find a few of the key records in World Series history, including one that might come as a bit of a surprise. There are also some light looks at things that have happened in World Series over the years, and a few tips on things to look for that might make the series a little more fun for you. Dropping in on your Dodge dealer is always a good idea. He's got a service for you there called customer care, which means he cares as much about you as he does about your car. So whether you're a rabid fan or just an occasional watcher, pick up your free copy at your Dodge dealers.
The summary of everything went on out here. Let's pause 30 seconds for station identification.
This is WGY, WGFM, Schenectady, New York.
Begins to file out of this beautiful Dodger Stadium. 55,941 were looking on. There was a lot of drama that unfolded right here in this first game, and it sets it up to be one whale of a series, Chuck Thompson.
Before we begin to think about what can happen tomorrow, as the magnificent Koufax is scheduled to pitch for the Dodgers, and the hard-throwing youngster Jim Palmer is to pitch for the Baltimore Orioles, let's take a look at what took place here this afternoon and get the figures out of the way. First of all, the victorious Birds with 5 runs and 9 hits. They did not commit an error. They stranded 9 men. The Dodgers 2 runs on 3 base hits. They did not commit an error. They stranded 8 men. The winning pitcher will be Mo Drabowski. 1-0, of course, in that this is his first series game. The loser is Don Drysdale, 0-1 in this series as of the moment. Now, the Dodgers have now lost the opening game of the series 10 times in their 13 series appearances. You recall last year, the Dodgers lost the opener in Minnesota by a score of 8-2. Drysdale's composite World Series record now, 3-1 in the series at L.A. and 3-2 overall in the series. To go back on the Orioles scoring, and we didn't have to wait very long. It started in the very first inning. Russ Snyder, with 1 out, drew a base on ball. Frank Robinson then powered his second World Series home run into the lower deck seats in the left field corner. And just like that, the Baltimore Orioles were on top of the Dodgers and Drysdale 2-0. Before the folks could settle back on their seats from the 2-run home run blast off the bat of Frank Robinson, Brooks Robinson banged one into the same area, and Baltimore led by a score of 3-0 at the end of the first inning. The Dodgers threatened very briefly in the first inning as Maury Wills led off with a walk and in typical Dodger fashion raced down to second base while Willie Davis was at the plate taking his ball. However, Dave McNally, the Orioles starting left-hander, retired Davis, Johnson, and Tommy Davis in order, and they were out of the inning in that manner. The Birds picked up run number 4 in the second inning on a leadoff walk to Andy Etchebarren. He was sacrificed to second base and scored on Russ Snyder's single into left field, and Baltimore led by a score of 4-0. It didn't last long because Jim Lefevre, leading off for the Dodgers in the second inning, homered. And it was in this inning that the Dodgers came up with their biggest threat of the day. With a leadoff home run by Lefevre, Wes Parker then followed with a double. A walk to Gilliam, and the Dodgers had runners at first and second base with none out. John Roseborough hit a blast, headed to the alley in right center field, and center fielder Russ Snyder of the Orioles dashed into the gap and made a fine diving, tumbling catch to take away the extra base hit from Roseborough. McNally then went on to retire pinch hitter Stewart and struck out Maury Wills, and at the end of 2, it was Baltimore 4 and the L.A. Dodgers 1. The Dodgers came on with a big threat in the second inning to pick up their second run, and they got it in the easiest possible manner, as left-hander Dave McNally for Baltimore retired the leadoff hitter in the third inning, Willie Davis, in the pop-up to short, but then just lost his control, and he walked Lou Johnson, Tommy Davis, Jim Lefevre to load the bases. And that's when manager Bauer went to the bullpen and called upon the veteran Mo Drabowski. And as you've heard Bob Prince through the last half of the ball game, Drabowski was just magnificent. With 1 out of the bases loaded in the third, he struck out Wes Parker. Then a walk to Gilliam forced Lou Johnson home with the Dodgers' second run of the game. Following that, Drabowski got Roseborough on a pop-up to the catcher Etchebarren, and the Orioles were out of the inning. From that time on, the Dodgers never threatened. Drabowski went roaring right along, and at one time had retired 11 men in a row. He struck out 6 in a row to tie a World Series record. He wound up the day's effort with a total of 11 strikeouts, credit 1 to the starting pitcher Dave McNally, and a total of 12 Dodger strikeouts. Drabowski walked only 2 men, and while he was on the mound, only 1 Dodger got as far as second base from after the third inning, and that was Maury Wills in the 7th inning. Drabowski finished with a flourish, picking up 3 more strikeouts in the last 2 innings as he fanned Wes Parker in the 8th inning, and to start the 9th inning got Roseborough and pinch hitter Fairley, and then Maury Wills in the bounce out to Dave Johnson to end the ball game and give the Orioles something they desperately wanted in their swing to California, the first game. Manager Bauer has, and I think all managers do this, with a ball club on the road, you cannot underplay the significance, the importance of that first win, that first game, and the Orioles have picked it up here this afternoon at Dodger Stadium. Going back over the Orioles scoring, they picked up their 5th run and final run in the 4th inning on a leadoff double by rookie Dave Johnson. Then Andy Etchebarren, right-handed batter, deliberately hit the ball the first base side of the infield, which sent Johnson into third base. Mo Drabowski then walked, and Louis Aparicio hit a bouncer to the shortstop Wills. Maury had to go kind of hard into the hole to get to this ball, and he executed the force of Drabowski at second base, the only play available. And while that was going on, Johnson checked in with the Birds' final run. Baltimore 5-2 over the Dodgers in the opening game, and a great win for Baltimore. Bob Prince?
Yes, it certainly was, Chuck Thompson, and you and I'll get back here together to theorize a little bit on what the impact of tomorrow's great contest is going to be in one moment, right after this message from Winston.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Winston tastes good. Like your cigarette should. When I changed to Winston, I changed for good. 'Cause I got good taste, like I knew I would. Winston tastes good, like it should. When you change to Winston, change for good, 'cause Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
Winston tastes good like your cigarette should. Make your cigarette Winston.
Winston.
We'll remind you once again, ladies and gentlemen, here at Dodger Stadium, before 55,941 fans, the Baltimore Orioles got away winging as they defeated the Dodgers 5-2, took Drysdale down and Drabowski on, and Chuck Thompson just gave you a very excellent summation of what went on there, and we won't get into that anymore as much as the fact that now the Dodgers come back with the strongest of the strong, and their great and superb left-hander who truly belongs in a higher league. If there is one, he should be in it. Koufax is one of the most magnificent pitching machines baseball has ever seen or perhaps ever will see, winning 27 games and time after time after time, keeping the Dodgers very close to the race, and then when they had to have him on closing day to get the thing in the hopper, he went out on 2 days' rest and did it. We all know about the great Koufax. We all know about his great ability to pitch. Now, of course, the psychological advantage would swing to Baltimore were they able to defeat Koufax tomorrow, and that would be something else to take back to Baltimore with them for Game 3 in Baltimore. But what about young Jim Palmer, Chuck, the youngster that goes against the mighty Koufax tomorrow?
As you said, Bob, this young fellow won't reach his 21st birthday until October the 15th, but this young man Palmer went the route on September the 22nd, pitched a 5-hitter to beat the A's, and that enabled the Orioles to clinch their first American League pennant. He beat Kansas City by a score of 6-1. Manager Hank Bauer has been quoted as saying about Palmer, he will not scare the Orioles all year long. When you play baseball for a man like Bauer, you've got to be able to accept the challenge. Hank has faced them squarely all his life as a player and as a manager. And the Orioles, of course, have nothing but the utmost respect for the magnificent Sandy Koufax, but it's a challenge that they are looking forward to.
The final score once again in the first game of the World Series here in Dodger Stadium, Los Angeles, California. Baltimore Orioles 5, the Los Angeles Dodgers 2. And now speaking for Chuck Thompson, this is Bob Prince saying thanks for being with us. This has been an NBC Radio Network production.